Rugby League on Sky Sports. Sponsored by Stan James, the sports bookmaker, whatever your sport.
Boots and all is on the road this week. We're at the National League One local derby between Batley and Dewsbury. Geographically, there's just a good drop kick between the two towns, and so local bragging rights are at stake here, as well as vital competition points for them both. The Rams looking to go fifth. The Bulldogs will be just 2 points off the playoff zone with a victory here. Commentary on the game from Barry McDermott, Steve-O, and first of all, Bill Arthur.
You really don't get much closer rivalry than this in rugby league anyway. Just a couple of miles separate these two clubs. And besides local pride at stake here at Mount Pleasant, there are 3 National League One points very much at stake for these two sides. For Dewsbury Rams to consolidate their place, for the Batley Bulldogs to try and hold their slide. And they have Craig Lingard at fullback, the wingers Ash Lindsay and Ollie Marnes, Danny Speakman and Chris Langley the centres, the halfbacks newly paired together, Richard Colley and Tom Hemingway. In the forwards for the Bulldogs, David Rourke, Chris Lythe, Martin McLaughlin, Anthony Henderson, Craig Farrell and the captain, John Gallagher. And on the bench, Luke Stenchen, Mark Toohey, Luke Menzies and John Simpson, and the coach, Gary Thornton. Dewsbury Rams come here on the back of an impressive victory over Leigh Centurions, with Ian Priest at fullback, Bryn Powell, Austin Buchanan on the wings, Andrew Bostock and Danny Moore on the centres, Francis Maloney and Dean Lawford the halfbacks. And in the forwards, Andy Hobson, Luke Haig, Dominic Maloney, Martin Robinson, Alex Bretherton and Pat Walker. And in the forwards, Liam Finn, Rob Kelly, Kevin Crowthers, Joe Helm, and the coach is Andy Kelly. The players out on the pitch, a great crowd here at Mount Pleasant, and before the game gets underway, they'll observe a minute's silence in honour of Malcolm White, a long-standing supporter who died recently, and former Batley player Austin Kilroy, who also passed away. That'll be the calm before the storm here, because this, as we mentioned already, is a local derby. Gareth Ewer will have charge of it, and he can expect a fairly fiery start from these two neighbours. Not a lot of love lost, and alongside me, a man who's played in one or two of them, Mike Stevenson.
Yeah, Bill, it's really great to be here because, as you mentioned, there's not a lot of love between either two, and I must say it'll be perhaps the odd drop of blood on show, because it is always traditional that these guys, especially in the forwards, they'll get into each other in the opening 10. Should be interesting.
It's Tom Hemingway who gets the game underway for the Batley Bulldogs, playing in their customary strip. Dewsbury Rams in theirs, and Batley really do need to throw down the gauntlet early on here. Their form has not been good this season. It was great last year when they made the playoffs and shocked Leigh in the first round of the playoffs, knocking them out. This season they haven't been able to replicate that form, and it has been a real struggle for them. And in their last performance against Rochdale, they were woeful. So they've got a lot to prove. Dean Lawford, former Batley player, putting that kick in for the Dewsbury Rams, and Dewsbury will go into this game with confidence, having beaten Leigh last time out and established themselves. Really, they won promotion last season, and they're currently occupying a playoff place, and they could go fifth tonight were they to win this one. But I think they're going to have to hold their nerve, Barry, and maybe not get sucked into a confrontation, which is probably what Batley want.
I think the key to any derby match is to keep your emotions and keep everything else pretty tight, and if anything, As you mentioned before, Batley are going to look to be extra physical and lay that dominant form down in the early stages. So I think both of you are right. I can see a bit of a confrontation or two coming up quite shortly.
Well, this is going to be an important factor because, as you can see, this Mount Pleasant ground, it really does dip away, and it's got to be an advantage to the Batley side in the first half. Now, they've often said for many, many years here that it's worth maybe 12, 14 point start. That's how influential that steep hill can be.
Is it 8 foot from one end to the other, this
Actually,
ground?
I think it's just over 6 foot, Bill, but it's an amazing thing. I must say, though, I have never seen grass as good as this on the Batley turf. It used to be just a mud bath, and full credit to Jim Moore, the groundsman, you know. He works on his own, and it's just in absolutely fantastic nick, isn't it?
Especially the conditions he's had to put up with in the last few days.
Yeah, Yorkshire had more than its fair share of downpour this week in past, but fantastic conditions. It's just interesting, Steve-O, in your day, you know, I'm going back 20 years, 25 years, as Craig Lignard makes a bit of a break. Would you prefer to play up the hill or down the hill first?
I always thought it was an advantage to get the first half away if you're going up the slope, and therefore, because you knew that, and when you look at the two sides, Maloney and Lawford, very good in that kicking department, and that really will be the key, and they will have that advantage in the second half.
I think so. While you're making that battle of energy battles, it's important to not burn everything up in the first half, and sometimes you can do that when you're going down first.
Well, it's Batley in possession just inside the Dewsbury half, and made a good start, and they've made a great break, and Hemingway is through. Tom Hemingway gets the first try of the game, and what a great one it was for the Batley Bulldogs. A great offload. I think it was David Rourke.
It was John Gallagher. Fantastic offload.
And Hemingway on his shoulder. Well, he's only his second game since he was signed from Huddersfield Giants. He's got great pace, and it's going to take him a bit of time to get attuned to his new teammates, but he was right on song then.
Superb offload, just dinked into the tackle, back on the inside, and Hemingway, what about the speed? He's no slouch in Priest, but he took him on. But watch how he just takes the tackle, switches the ball back on the inside. This is sheer quality. Talk about having the confidence. As soon as he got that football, he knew he was going to go on the arc on the outside of the fullback. What a start.
Well, Gary Thornton yet to take his seat in the stand, but he'll be delighted with that. That's what his side needed after their poor form of recent weeks, to steady their nerves. And Tom Hemingway, who's played Super League this season, out in Perpignan for the Giants against the Catalan Dragons, kicked a couple of goals in that game. And can he hit the target for his new club, having scored the first try of the game? Gives that one plenty of loft and is on target. A word from Joe Berry, the assistant coach, and Tom Hemingway, the first points of the game.
The try from Tom Hemingway came from John Gallagher. Superb offload, but don't underestimate the part that Martin McLaughlin had to play in that. The support play meant that John Gallagher was one-on-one with his opponent and able to get that ball away. Fantastic start for Batley.
Pretty good work in the forwards. It's obvious that Batley coach Gary Thornton quite happy with the new acquisition, giving them plenty of opportunity. It has been a problem with them that they've made the half breaks and they haven't had much support. It certainly was there then.
There is Martin McLaughlin, once of Wigan Academy, and taking on the Dewsbury defenders. So Batley ahead by 6 points to 0 here.
And fully deserved as well, and Andy Kelly, the Dewsbury coach, will have to get the message out that they've got to make sure that they stop the man offloading. Superb work from Gallagher, the loose forward, but they've got to close them down.
That's good defence from Dewsbury, driving David Rourke back there. Well, this is just the first part of Boots and All, of course. There's more to come after this game, and you can contact Boots and All at that address, bootsandall@bskyb.com, with your views and your opinions on the game.
Well, a silly play there by the centre, Andy Bostock. Tackle had been completed, just went for a second bite. They'd be right to be penalised.
So it's very much Batley's start to the game.
Tackle one, clear.
As Craig Farrell takes that ball up for them. Now here's David Rourke back in the side after overcoming a neck injury.
Hold. Go.
McLaughlin now.
Got to be very careful around the play the ball area.
Gareth Hewer bringing the Dewsbury Rams back the 10. Farrell. Head down. Support from Danny Speakman on his shoulder. Colley. Rourke again, seen plenty of ball early on the last now. And the hooker, Chris Lythe. They're running this and it could be in here again. They are, and it's a great try from Speakman. Well, they really caught the Dewsbury Rams napping there. Expecting the kick. And there's pride in the badge. And Danny Speakman with his second try of the season as the Dewsbury Rams were caught napping again, and they really have been caught cold here.
Well, it was a penalty that got them way downfield. Bostock giving that away. No doubt about it. They got good yards forward and they went for the power play. Good finish. Dewsbury anticipating the kick. They hung back. Nice dummy. Nothing that Maloney could do about that. And the centre took full advantage. They're running riot. Well, I said already, Bill, that this slope, you run about 12 points, 14 points advantage. They've certainly got that back.
They've got 10 of them already.
Unbelievable play. They are a bit shell-shocked, the Red, Amber and Blacks.
Now Hemingway. Can he drift this one in from wide out on the right? He's well off target with that one. But the try from Speakman, 10-0 to the Batley Bulldogs. And Gary Thornton, in the middle of a working week for him. He works in the telecoms industry. And up and down the motorway during the week, but his mind has always been on this one, the big game for Batley supporters.
Well, he certainly got the message out because it's been superb play. Perhaps Dewsbury thinking that they would just play heavily in the forwards, but they've been getting it out wide, and Dewsbury have to get their defensive line sorted out quickly.
Quite an interesting tactical battle. Both coaches won the major awards in the National Leagues last year. Andy Kelly for League 2 and Gary Thornton for League 1, so some interesting tactics. Both teams seem convinced that throwing numbers at halfbacks will cause them problem, and it was no coincidence that Francis Maloney was the guy that had to stretch and really make that tackle. Fortunately, he couldn't get there in time.
You do have an interesting clash in that halfback position, because you've got the old stagers in Maloney and Lawford up against the young guns in Hemingway and Colley. Hemingway just 20 years of age, Colley 23, and Maloney and Lawford the other side of 30. And at the moment it's the youngsters who are running the show. It's the Batley Bulldogs who are ahead by 10 points to 0.
Well, they know it's going to be pretty hard going up that slope, but they've got to get back into basics, Dewsbury. With a little bit of the feel of the football. They've had very little possession.
It's interesting, Steve, me and you both said that we'd when we played here, we'd prefer to go up the hill. You'd probably guess that Batley would know better than anybody else that a good start and a good kicking game can get you those early points and get you a massive start in the match.
And also psychologically, maybe Dewsbury thought that, you know, we've got that second half going down the hill, and it has a great effect on the game. Neat little kick through, got a chance here.
Lawford's kick took a ricochet. Buchanan was chasing it, but well dealt with by Ash Lindsay. Out there on the wing.
Ash Lindsay's an exciting player, you know, Bill. Normally a halfback, very explosive, makes a lot of things happen with the ball in his hand, but unusually on the wing this week.
Tackle 3, clear the rock.
Great tackle there by the prop forward, Andy Hobson.
He's a great character, Ash Lindsay. You might have seen him earlier on in the season on Boots and All as part of the Parachute Regiment project, when they took half a dozen players and turned them into parachute reservists. Some of them made the grade, some didn't. Ash Lindsay certainly made the grade. Really showed a side of his character there that won him a lot of admirers. Batley in possession and playing a very steady game here. They've settled well into the rhythm of this and dominating their opponents so far. A long way to go, and how dearly they'd love the 3 points here. 8th in the table, Batley, only 2 wins from 9 games so far, looking over their shoulders at that relegation zone. And Dewsbury in possession now, looking to mount a bit of pressure on the Batley line for the first time in the game, really.
It's true, and we've talked about the pitch, and we don't want to labour the point, but it is definitely a factor, and probably when you're playing up the hill, it is a bit of a damage limitation until you get to the second half. But again, Batley with superb tactics early on, and a good run from Andy Hobson.
He's still going, Hobson, taking them all on. Eventually it's McLaughlin who brings him down. That's lifted the Dewsbury supporters, and there are plenty of them here tonight, and they're behind that try line that Dewsbury are attacking at the moment, and Buchanan, I think, has got that one. Austin Buchanan was there for the bounce of the ball. Gareth Ewer doesn't need to consult video referee Tennant, and wonderfully well worked that try from the Dewsbury Rams, and Buchanan gets his 4th try of the season.
Great work down that short blind side. Good work from Hobson, got him into the position, and it was the little chip over from Lawford. Superb weighted kick as well. Reads the game ever so well. Quite a challenge. Well finished it off by the ex-Leeds Academy player Buchanan. Knew exactly what was happening. You can't say the same for his opposite, Ash Lindsay. Great fight back.
Putting the mockers on Ash Lindsay there, but Buchanan gets his 4th try in 5 games now, and a winger's finish that was, but a great kick from Dean Lawford, and can his half-back partner Francis Maloney match that with this kick? Way out wide in front of the Glenn Tomlinson stand here, looking to drift that one in, pushes it across the face of the posts, but Dewsbury have steadied the ship. 10-4 the scoreline in Batley's favour, and the first real threat on the Batley line, and Batley cracked.
A fantastic charge by Andy Hobson. He went that far upfield, he had a nosebleed, didn't he? But terrific leg drive, and you talk about fitness. One thing these lads in the National League aren't short of, it's desire and power, and it was well in full show there.
Plenty of experience in Super League, Austin Buchanan, with the Wildcats and the Broncos, and came here from Wakefield. A good recruit for Andy Kelly, good finisher.
I think the most important factor for Dewsbury's concern is that they have got back the first real challenge against Batley's line, and they have crossed them, and that'll build their confidence. They were a little bit shaky. Again, the big fella Hobson getting through a lot of work.
This is the kid I'm looking forward to see. A massive game from him against Whitehaven, and speaking to Andy Kelly on the week, he's got massive raps on this Maloney kid.
That's Dominic Maloney, a relative of Francis. And Dewsbury on the halfway line. Maloney, Francis with the kick. And Craig Lingard just nonchalantly watching that one run dead. Well, it didn't, so he decided to run it back, and did pretty well to get back to the 20-metre line.
Pretty good tactics as well there by Francis Maloney, not giving it much air because the wind's against it. Did well to the full-back.
Craig Lingard been playing a lot of his rugby in the last year or two on the wing, but has scored lots and lots of tries. If I remember rightly, he's the club's highest try scorer, so there's plenty of pedigree in him.
That's right, 139 tries as the replay for the high shot, and David Rourke, the shoulder in fact from Hobson.
Well, I can't believe that the official has actually penalised him, because it definitely was the shoulder.
I think it was for offside, Steve, or they're showing great urgency at Dewsbury, and he hasn't made touch with the kick.
Oh, that's criminal, waste of possession like that, and an opportunity to pin Dewsbury down, and Buchanan runs it back at them. So they've let the chance slip there, and that's the sort of error that can cost you dearly. So Dewsbury have the ball back, and here is Dominic Maloney now, former Castleford Academy player.
It's just basic rugby league, that's all that's needed by the Dewsbury side.
He's basic, Andy Hobson.
That's all they need to do.
But probably that was what they were missing in the first 5 or 10 minutes, just some good yardage plays. Nice safe rugby.
And Hobson wants it back, but it's on the last. It'll be the kick. Lawford directing his troops. He's going to hoist that one out wide. Marnes is under pressure, does well to take that. That's experience for you. Didn't like the challenge from Bostock.
Ollie Marnes there, Steve. Are you from Dewsbury or Batley? he has a look at you, him.
Yeah, he certainly has. A lot younger though, but it was a great take under a lot of pressure. Didn't like it.
Similar athleticism, I thought, as well.
Listen, mate, I'm not saying he was your brother.
Dewsbury having to be careful there, lifting the man in the tackle. Lindsay not impressed. His Rourke once more.
Pretty important now that Dewsbury don't give away another penalty. They've given away 2 already. And they've allowed the Bulldogs to get well and truly back into a good position.
Work it on, work.
McLaughlin is tackled just over his own 40-metre line. Colley.
16 minutes. This is about the time in a match where changes start to be made and again tactics start to come into play.
Hemingway puts the kick in, and that one's going to stay in the field of play. It's a good kick as well from Hemingway. He's shown well here early on with that try. He's missed the tackle there though, and Ian Priest running it back and running it back.
That was a high shot, surely.
Runs into Chris Langley.
Claiming an elbow.
Langley heard you.
They got a tackle.
Claiming an elbow. I think he might be right there, mate.
Yeah, there's a bit of 50-50, I believe, but lost his cool. Looked pretty high. You see on the slow motion.
There it is.
It was a combination of both. He lost his cool there.
That'll jar your teeth.
Get the ball off. Okay, go.
Kevin Crowther's slowly to his feet on halfway. Here's Danny Moore now. Moore, Langley was high again. And he's appealing for the knock-on, Langley, and he's got the decision in his favour.
Well, I was a little bit disappointed with him because it was yet another high shot, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And then he's lost possession, not surprisingly. Get your nose rattled on that one, but it's always spicy affairs. These derby games, especially between Batley and Dewsbury, and nice little step there from
Colley
Colley,
almost through. Needed a good tackle from Bretherton. Just managed to get a hand on him, halt his progress. John Gallagher now. Younger brother of Tommy Gallagher. And
It's off, here we go.
Well, almost.
Let's get out.
Craig Farrell didn't like that.
Well, it was building, wasn't it? I wouldn't say that it actually boiled over, but I think the top of the pan was rattling.
Hold it.
As you can see, he went for a second one. Dominic Maloney said, I'll get one, and then he gets one back. Calm down, fellas.
Blood on Craig Farrell's face as the officials consult.
I don't think Ricky Hatton will be too bothered about those punches.
I've already blew for the penalty. You're round his head. It's a grapple. We've got to get off the neck and the head area.
To calm things
Make sure you know
down.
what we're doing. 12.
To Maloney.
You've got the penalty. Don't take things in your hands. I know. I'll give the penalty. Make sure you keep it out. All right. Get out
Craig
discipline.
Farrell, blood on the nose, and just making the point it's not the first time. So just the first hint of a bit of passion in this game, boiling over. John Simpson is on the field and taking the ball up for the Bulldogs, taking it up strongly. Here is McLaughlin again, looking for the confrontation and finding it in Hobson. Struggling to get to his feet. Hemingway now. Hemingway trying to put the step on them. There's 3 of them to tackle him. About 5 metres out. Gallagher.
Interesting to see, Bill, whether they go for the kick or whether they go for the power play option.
Lythe was very close there. Hemingway with a little kick, looking for Langley. The ball's come back.
Did he play for the ball, though? No.
Is it back to one? There's no signal from the referee yet. No, we're on the last. Gallagher puts the kick in again. It's still alive. It's still on the last here. And then Simpson goes without it.
Took a big gamble there. Danny Moore went right in early. Did he time his tackle? Did he take the man before he received the football? I think he might have got away with it.
It's interesting to contrast the 2 subs. Batley have got 4 forwards on the bench, and Dewsbury have gone for a half-back, a second row, a forward and a utility player. So very contrasting benches.
Dewsbury withstanding that Batley assault on their line. It's the Bulldogs who are still ahead by 10 points to 4.
They've upped the tempo slightly of Dewsbury, which they had to as well. Lawford with a kick.
That's another well-weighted one. He knows this pitch, Dean Lawford. He's played here as a Batley player.
Good defence.
Marnes,
good kick and good chase.
forced across the field. Now here goes Ash Lindsay.
Second tackle. Hands out.
Struggling to get to his feet.
Let's work at the ruck.
Crowthers taking his time there.
3, clear. Go.
Langley felt that challenge, I think. It's getting quite fierce out there. Simpson did well to hold on to that.
Tackle full move.
Tempo seems to have upped a little bit,
It's
hasn't
getting
it?
tasty, isn't it?
Good work from Farrell.
Tackle 5 is held.
Former Hull and Hull Kingston Rovers player Craig Farrell comes from Scarborough.
Go.
Collie puts the little chip kick in. Oh, well taken by Ian Priest. Did really well there, the full-back, and he's keeping it alive. Lawford stretching for that one. You can almost, as Priest set off, you can see Lawford thinking, oh, not me.
Don't pass to me. Terrific skill from the full-back there. Look at that.
Yeah, he's in outstanding form, isn't he? He's a tough cookie as well. But you're right there. Dean Lawford is a bit long in the tooth somewhat. He was desperate, wasn't he? Oh, it's got to be a penalty, surely.
Well, Morn was picked up and dragged towards the touchline. They're lucky to get away with that. Joe Helm on the charge for the Dewsbury Rams now. Lawford, Maloney. The ball with young Pat Walker, the loose forward, and Walker, high hopes of him from coach Andy Kelly. On the last now. Maloney will hoist the kick. This one's straight up in the air, doesn't get a great deal of distance either. Oh, well picked up by Bostock, and Bostock stretches out.
He could have done his shoulder,
but he's hurt there.
What an effort though, but he may have paid the price. There's nothing worse than when you reach out and then you get the weight behind you. It just ricochets and pulls the joint, and he's in a lot of pain.
That could be a rotator cuff injury there, definitely.
Well, we used to call them shoulders nowadays.
Well, I'm a bit more technical than you.
You certainly are, but again, the option of the kick, Maloney got plenty of height and the wind held it, and they paid the price of not going for it. Watch how he reaches out, watch the shoulder. Oh, his own weight would have just stretched the joint and the ligaments. You have to go for possession. They failed to do it. And Danny Speakman has paid the price for not going for it. Full effort from this guy. But it would be a tragedy if he has to leave the field, but you can see the pain that is in already.
Well, Maloney's kick didn't appear to be causing that much danger. It just went straight up in the air, but everybody else watched it, and Bostock was the one who reacted. And that's earned his side 4 points, but it could be at some considerable personal cost, because he's still out on the deck as Maloney lines up this conversion attempt. Successful with that, and the scores are level. So that great start from the Batley Bulldogs has been for naught, and they are pegged back at 10 points apiece, and Bostock in all sorts of discomfort there.
I'm just going to be a little bit technical, me. I think if Bostock has the ball in his hands rather than wedged between his fingers in his forearm, it was a good maybe a yard over the line, so he wouldn't have had to stretch as much. The fact that he stretched meant that his arm was a lot further away from his body than he would have liked. Does that make sense?
It certainly does, but sadly for the big centre, former Thornhill youngster, it was a wonderful effort though.
Correct, and you talked about the two half-backs. You've got youth and experience for Batley, and you've just got guile and experience on the other side. And Francis Maloney and Dean Lawford, I would hazard a guess that they're one of the better partnerships in the league at the minute.
Well, when it comes down to kicking, both tries for Dewsbury have come from courtesy of those two that Barry has mentioned. The first Lawford kick into the corner.
There's some passion here on this set of six. I've just seen one of the Batley players fired up.
He's lost that ball. Yeah. Expensive error.
And that came from intimidation, speed of the line, and just good shots from Batley.
Joe Helm really took it into the Batley defence there, but lost control of the ball there. And Batley will get possession in a very useful position. Meanwhile, Dewsbury having to do some reshaping. Andy Kelly without centre Andy Bostock, probably for the rest of the game now.
It was a great hit though, wasn't it, from John Simpson, the big boy.
Gallagher trying to go on his own, certainly had the Dewsbury defence on their toes
Well, this is where Hemingway and Colley have to start combining. A lot of pressure there. Andy Kelly knows they're under the coach.
Good work from John Simpson, and Simpson is over the line. He's held up.
Take the ball,
Says Gareth Hewer. Good defence from Dewsbury there, so he takes it back to the 10-metre line. Play the ball. Just for a moment I thought he was going to be able to stretch out. Hemingway is weighing up the options. Henderson takes the pass, but Henderson's going back. And there's another high shot there. Kevin Crowthers was in there, Helm as well.
High tackle.
I think it's Crowthers that Gareth Hewer is pointing to.
Well, he certainly picked him out. Was it a swinging arm? Certainly looked high over the shoulder. This will give you a better indication, but on with the game.
Here's Big John Simpson again. Former Huddersfield and Halifax player Simpson. He's tackled though. Colley, Farrell. Colley again, he's into touch. That's good defence. Maloney all over him. Oh, they're really gung-ho. A little word of advice from Priest as well.
Fantastic defence there from Alex Bretherton, I think it was, first of all, but that's the way to lift and inspire your teammates.
It was a good little double run around, wasn't it, with Colley, but they picked it.
Great technique. Caught the guy on his chest, wrapped both arms around him with the help of a teammate, just escorted him into the over the sideline there, sorry.
So Dewsbury have possession from the scrum on their own 10-metre line. It's 10 points apiece here at Mount Pleasant. Morn is tackled.
It's good play as well from Dewsbury. Quick play of the ball. He just called Batley a little bit napping there. Probably disappointed that didn't get points on the board.
Batley will be disappointed, having had that great start, those early tries. So plenty to talk about here already. There'll be plenty more to talk about, I'm sure, in the rest of Boots and All, and you can contact the programme, Boots and All, at bskyb.com.
That is a great kick. Up the hill, let's see what the chase he'd like. A little bit lax, there's two there already.
Mons.
That's what happens when you have a scattered kick chase defence there. That's what happens. One pass and you're in all kinds of trouble.
Farrell going across the field, looking for a gap in the Dewsbury Rams defence. Langley, bang, shrugs off that hit, goes looking for a second, finds it in the shape of Joe Helm. Up to the halfway line.
Plenty of enthusiasm from both sides. Really are running onto this football. The fitness level is pretty high.
Luke Stenchen takes the tackle, former Leeds Academy player, as was John Gallagher there.
Now, they haven't utilised that dip into that corner once, Batley, which has rather surprised me.
But look what they do. No, they don't. They put it up in the air, but I thought you were going to be so spot on there.
Well, it's such an advantage.
Well, that kick was easily dealt with by Ian Priest.
Are they targeting the fullback? Are they trying to give it the fullback for the first tackle because maybe he's better off for Batley, or for Dewsbury, sorry, when he gets the ball from acting half and scoots away? So sometimes you've got to look a little bit closer.
Batley offside.
But I must say that the way that Ian Priest, the Dewsbury fullback, has been playing so far, quick tap, that's good thinking. They gained valuable metres forward there.
There's Dominic Maloney again, making grounds for the Dewsbury Rams. Here's Joe Helm, former York City Knight player, 5 seasons at York. Signed the start of this campaign by the Dewsbury Rams. Maloney now. Walker. Bretherton.
Pretty difficult for a defence to try to work out the tactics from Dewsbury when you've got such experience. Maloney comes down the right-hand side. Lawford is acting out there on the left. He'll probably get it next.
Here is Lawford now. Crowthers outside him. Batley wise to that one. The tackle from Chris Langley. Lawford once more, and Dewsbury just upping the tempo a little kick. That's from Lawford, almost running kindly for Pat Walker, but they've certainly just upped the tempo.
What skill from Dean Lawford there. He got the ball and laid it flat and kicked it right on the corner. Bit of a banana kick, really. And it's funny we mentioned Dean Lawford. I played with him at the really early stage of his career at Leeds, and he was by far the most skillful player I ever played with. Could spin past 20 yards both sides and hit it right on the button when he was kicking and passing. So some fantastic skill on show from him.
Certainly one of the best rugby league brains going around, I must say. And it was a good kick into the corner. They nearly caught Ollie Marnes out of position. He couldn't get a fingertip to it.
Simpson now.
Looked a bit high there from Crowthers. They're going to get away with it.
Gallagher always trying things, and the wind really blustery now, and it's behind the Batley Bulldogs at the moment as Hemingway puts that kick in. That's way too strong that time. With the wind and the slope, that was always going to run dead. Here's Austin Buchanan now.
Again, discipline from the Batley side.
And he's dropped the ball.
Play on.
Gallagher has snapped that up. Buchanan holds his head, feeling groggy.
Austin Buchanan was looking for the floor there. He was looking for the quick play of the ball, and because the hooker wouldn't give up, rightly gained the ball, rightly forced the error. Well done.
Move.
Mark Toohey was taking the ball up there for the Batley Bulldogs. Good work here from Speakman. Already one try to his name this evening. Marnes. That's a wild pass which Colley has to retreat to pick up. They've lost a little bit of momentum now. 3 tackles gone. Good step from Chris Lythe. Stenchen, great offload from Stenchen. Oh, and Marnes couldn't get the ball away. And they're in touch. Speakman desperately trying to rescue the situation, but a promising, just for a moment, a promising opportunity.
Well, it should have been a try. It was not the best pass from Ollie Marnes, who'd done a switch with Speakman.
He had a second to make his mind up. He had a second to catch it and pass it, and probably would argue he did as good as he could do. And not a centre, a winger, and rightly so, Steve-O. They swapped, and perhaps a little bit more experience and a better centre might have made that pass, and they were definitely, and that's definitely a chance.
No advantage. Offside at the scrum.
Batley.
Pretty good refereeing there. There was no advantage to play on there.
And very quickly.
Good yards again from the quick tap. That's working well for Dewsbury.
That was Joe Helm who made the initial yards for Dewsbury. And then Liam Finn. The penalty count just in Batley's favour by 4-3. But that latest penalty for Dewsbury has taken them into the Batley half, and 33 minutes gone. Maloney in possession.
Been very impressed, Barry, with both sets of forwards looking for possession.
Lawford for Crowthers. Crowthers trying to find a way through. Good tackle from Henderson. Simpson there as well for Batley, but defending desperately here as Finn goes for the line.
Oh, he's got it away,
and it's been knocked on. Did the referee see that one? Well, I think the touch judge has drawn his attention to it.
Well, there's a few players just standing around that they thought perhaps it might have been an offside position. Good effort, looked as though, and then he just flicked it away.
He was just in the process, that referee, of blowing the whistle then, so he was microseconds off blowing that whistle. But you're right about the forwards, and I think the important factor to realise here that there's lots of players playing today that have played for the opposite side, so it means something to them.
Maloney is tackled. Dewsbury attacking that end of the field, populated in the terraces by the Dewsbury supporters, hoping their side can take the lead for the first time in this game. Trailing 10-0, they've come back to 10 points apiece. Great opportunity for them here with Crowthers. Batley defending desperately on their own try line. Langley with the tackle. Helm was the dummy runner. It's Lawford to Maloney. Pat Walker now. Walker back on the inside to Bretherton. Bretherton going across the face of the posts. Stenchen tried to rip the ball from his grasp. Walker, try is on for Rob Kelly. And the pressure was bound to tell in the end. They stretched them from left to right and back again. And the Batley defence just didn't have the numbers in the end. And Rob Kelly, son of coach Andy Kelly, former Thornhill and Alton amateur, 21 years old, puts Dewsbury Rams in front with this try.
Got the ball away, and the loose forward John Gallagher comes up with the knock-on from the resulting scrum. Full credit though to the Red, Amber and Blacks. They kept this ball alive. They were always looking for a different angle. And you can see that Batley's defence, they're hanging back instead of making their commitment, and they were always going to have it with the final pass. Neat little step. That was a great play. Super stop. Danny Speakman at the end takes the little shuffle and the dummy. Boo! Can't get to him. Kelly said, I'll take it. Is he happy? He sure is.
So, second try of the season for Rob Kelly. And Maloney to improve on that try, which he has done, into a very difficult wind as well. So from 10-0 down, Dewsbury have hit back to lead by 16 points to 10.
Always
Three
difficult.
quick tries.
Sorry, Bill. Always difficult to deal with what we call second phase rugby. You don't know whether to commit to the man that's got the ball or keep that structured line defence. But Rob Kelly will be made up, and his dad and his uncle Neil will be absolutely thrilled to bits for him. But it won't count for nothing unless they come away with the victory.
He'll be a relieved man, Andy Kelly. The opening 10 minutes, I'm afraid the Bulldogs just completely ripped them apart. They were all at sea with Dewsbury, but they've fought back. Full credit to them.
So Dewsbury, and they'll have the wind at their back and the slope in their favour in the second half. So it's going to be
This ploy,
a difficult half-time talk for Gary Thornton, maybe.
It certainly is, but this ploy that Dewsbury have of playing the ball very quickly in their own half is paying off.
Sometimes, Steve-O, when you get a shot, when you get a good hit on you, you've got to jam the ball down and play it quickly, and that counteracted Luke Stenson on the second tackle, I think it was, shot up out the line, put a good shot on, but the guy who he tackled just played it nice and quick, negating the advantage that he gained.
That time Lawford's kick didn't do any damage. In fact, it was picked up smartly by Luke Menzies.
Well, it's all hands to the pumps now in regards to Dewsbury's defence. We've seen already in the first two tries early in the game that Batley are capable of pulling off some quality, especially from the two halfbacks, Hemingway and Colley. Can they combine yet again?
Well, just 3 minutes left in this first half. Time for Batley maybe to steady their ship. They were sailing along with the wind in their sails early on, but the wind's certainly been taken out of those sails by this Dewsbury Rams comeback. Langley takes the tackle. Hemingway, little grubber kick, and it's been picked up at the second attempt, I think, by Lawford, and it'll be a scrum and Batley's head and feed.
Was he judged he was offside, Bill?
No, it's head and feed at the scrum.
Well, it would have been a penalty if he judged to be offside, but yeah. Either way, Batley gained possession.
I'd like to see Richard Colley take the line on a little bit more. His half-back partner's done it a few times and to good effect.
That's one move.
Farrell takes the tackle. Still time for the Batley Bulldogs to hit back here. They could well do that.
That's two.
Going close with Mark Toohey. Marnes dummied the play the ball there. Or did he just dither? Either way, almost created an opportunity for himself. Hemingway going across the field still, then puts the grubber kick, but nobody on the same wavelength. Buchanan let that one run dead.
Well, that surprised me. They went early in the tackle count, but you could see that they dropped back. Austin Buchanan read it well, but this has been a real feature from this Dewsbury outfit, the way that they get on with the job. Look how many metres they've got forward after two, and they've caught them offside, and that's all being brought about by quick thinking. Good coaching by Andy Kelly.
You're spot on, Steve-O. Their urgency to get up and play the ball means that they're catching a retreating, disorganised defence, and that's when penalties happen, and again, scattered defence, broken defence. This kid's run hard and strong, and good leg drive.
Joe Helm, shown well. Into the final minute of the first half here then at Mount Pleasant in the heavy woolen derby.
17-1.
And it's Dewsbury who hold a 16-10 lead. Time for them still to improve it, but fullback Ian Priest has gone without the ball. That'll be the final opportunity of this first half, I think. Maybe just time for the scrum to form. Not even that. And a real topsy-turvy first half, and Gary Thornton will be disappointed with that, because his side led by 10 points to 0 and really caught the Dewsbury Rams cold. But the Rams have come roaring back to lead at half-time by 16 points to 10.
Yes, a fantastic fight back from the Dewsbury Rams. They were, as Bill says, 10-0 down at one stage, but they've hit back well. And what's more, they'll have the benefit of this notorious slope in their favour in the second half here at Mount Pleasant. Boots and All's on the road again this week. We're featuring Rugby League's closest local derby. The clubs are separated by 2 miles. The towns at half-time are separated by 6 points. Batley 10, the Dewsbury Rams 16. A reminder that coming up after the match on Boots and All, we'll be hearing from the Harlequins duo Chris Melling and Paul Sykes about their big night with Great Britain last Friday. Barry and Terry are out and about again. And keep on sending us those emails. We've had some already, but there's room for plenty more. We need to hear from all of you on things rugby league. But as I said, it's half-time here. Let's go pitchside and join Steve-O and Bill.
Great atmosphere down here on pitchside at half-time in this lovely little ground, Mount Pleasant, tucked away in the side streets in Batley. The crowds have come, the Dewsbury supporters have made the long and arduous journey 2 miles down the road for this one. And I don't think, Steve-O, they'll have been disappointed by that first half. Certainly the Batley fans will be disappointed with the way their side have let the grip slip.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a tough contest, and I must say that the way that Batley started, it looked as though Dewsbury were going to have a really, really bad uphill fight against it. Full credit to them, the Bulldogs expected them to go down the middle. What about
Right now we've got a very special guest for you this evening.
in for the first round? Good work from Gallagher back on the inside. This was barely after the first minute, and there was more to come, more pain. Bostock giving away a silly penalty. They're giving away 4 or 5 silly penalties in that first half, but on this occasion, College Pass, they went for the power play, didn't kick into the corner, and Speakman went over for the try. And a lot of questions were asked, could the Rams fight back? And it was Lawford's kick into the corner. Buchanan called them napping. It was good play on their behalf. And then Maloney on the right-hand side. Batley never went to challenge for this football. Bostock did, and sadly he scored the try, but as you can see from that, it looks as though he's had the shoulder put right out. A little bit fortunate here, it was Gallagher that came up with the knock-on, but it was always going to be about pressure, and they kept it out. This is a very good team try. And then back on the inside, kept it alive. They were running the angles exceptionally well, Dewsbury. They were taking control of it, and not surprisingly, they caught the Batley defence out wide when Kelly scored the first try. Pretty impressive from the Dewsbury Rams, especially in the final 20 minutes. It looked all over, didn't after the first 10, but I must say, they will have the advantage, Dewsbury, but don't write off the Bulldogs. They'll be fighting all the way.
Well, significantly as the game went on, the Dewsbury heavyweights, if you like, Hobson, Dominic Maloney, Joe Helm, very impressive off the bench. They have certainly taken a grip on this game, which looks ominous for Batley, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it certainly looks that way. The one thing that Dewsbury are doing exceptionally well, and Batley they're not, is that they are playing the ball extremely quickly. Good play of the ball, Batley kicking deep. When they get through first 2-3 tackles, Dewsbury are at the halfway line. They've been controlling this game late in the first half. If they do exactly the same in the second, they'll finish up winning.
Mind you, Batley will be in that dressing room, and their coach Gary Thornton will be telling them that at the start of this National League season they beat the Dewsbury Rams. They know it can be done, but they've got to rediscover the enthusiasm that they started this game with if they are going to overhaul their local rivals.
Thanks to Bill and Steve-O. Then the second half coming up, but don't forget you can keep in touch with us here at Batley via the email with all your rugby league views. The usual address. We'll hear from you, I hope, in the second half. Well, Super League took an international break last weekend. We come back with a bang Friday. It's Leeds Bradford at Headingley, on course to be a 22,000 sellout. So the best available seat is right here on Sky Sports 3 and HD2, 7:30. On Saturday at 6, we take a look at the champions, St Helens. They're at home to Huddersfield on Sky Sports 1 and HD1. So we see 4 of the top 6 sides in action on Sky Sports this weekend. It's half-time here in the National League 1. The local derby between Batley Bulldogs and the Dewsbury Rams. Batley 10, Dewsbury 16. Back to the commentary box. Steve-O, Barry McDermott and Bill Arthur. Bill, some guys have all the luck.
Thanks, Eddie. Yes, and Dewsbury were certainly simply irresistible as they came back in that first half. Batley, the birthplace of the late, great Robert Palmer, one of its claims to fame. And Dean Lawford, a former Batley player, will be marshalling this Dewsbury Rams side in the second half. Downhill, the wind behind him. Surely he's going to kick the Batley Bulldogs into submission, isn't he?
I think you're right, Bill. I think that also Francis Maloney will come to the fore. As I mentioned in that first half, they do take opposite direction. Lawford takes the left-hand side, Maloney on the right. But it really surprised me that Batley did not kick once into that corner. Amazing. The home side, they play here so regular, they must know it. Every inch of this ground.
Well, you say that, but in Hemingway and Colley, of course, they've got two young players who don't know it that well, and they're just getting to grips with playing on what is a bit of a different ground in this day and age, isn't it?
I just touched on it, the half-back partnership. I just feel that Colley needs to take the line on a little bit more. He's not much of a threat when he stands and passes. He's not committing anybody, and that half-back partnership is vital to Batley at the early stages of this match.
Well, which way will this go in the second half? Dewsbury thumped Batley 49-6 back in February in the Northern Rail Cup. They could do that sort of damage. Then again, opening day of the season, Batley beat Dewsbury 24-16, and hooker Chris Lythe got a hat-trick that day. So don't really have it in them.
Don't write them off, Bill. I've seen it so many times that, you know, you could come out in the second half and you think to yourself, and that is a bad mistake. They went for the power play when they should have gone for the kick. Lack of understanding there. But the thing is that maybe you've got to get it out of the brains of the Dewsbury players. So we're playing downhill, we'll win. You can't do that. They've got to work hard like they did in that last 20 minutes of the first half. They were impressive, Barry, with their forwards.
Absolutely. I just think the strength is coming off the bench, and you just had to look at the urgency that the Dewsbury players showed in that previous six, or in this set of six, where they just put the ball, got it off the Batley player, put it down and played it straight away. Great shot there.
Luke Stenchen it was, really put the shoulder into Dominic Maloney. There's a bit of passion out there at the start of this second half. Steaming onto the ball, Bryn Powell.
Boom.
On the last, Lawford, another wicked kick. Oh, it was a wicked kick. Buchanan gets his second of the game. Gareth Hewitt, I think, will want to see whether the winger was onside that time. He was there very quickly, and Ray Tennant, the video ref, will have to have a look at that. But Lawford, as expected,
that banana kick again. That banana kick. He's looking one way, kicking the next, putting everybody in.
Yeah, I think he's well okay.
In confusion.
Buchanan.
There's a carbon copy, isn't
it? Yep.
Of the first half, and yeah, I think he's okay.
Timed it perfectly. He's got the height on Ash Lindsay. He's got the try. Austin Buchanan's second of the game, and that's ominous for the Batley Bulldogs at the start of this second half.
It's happened before, hasn't it?
And the kicking game has been spectacular as far as the Red, Amber and Blacks are concerned. This is the third try that they posted from the kick. Two courtesy of Lawford, one from Maloney. This is tremendous stuff. Never made an attempt for it, really, did Ash Lindsay. And he's on a hat-trick, this guy.
He's now got 5 tries in the last 5 games, says Austin Buchanan. Maloney successful with 2 from 3 so far. Was last year's top scorer for the Dewsbury Rams with 186 points. So he's missed that one. Not impressed. But Dewsbury 20 points to 10 ahead.
I think Andy Kelly would have got his side in at half-time and said, look, we've got Ash Lindsay, who's a very, very talented player, but not a winger. They gained a try from it early in the first half, and a master kicker of the ball, Dean Lawford, just put it right on a 50-pence piece, and Austin Buchanan plucked it out there and said, thank you very much.
Well, they always take a gamble when you put a normal half-back, and that's generally where Ash Lindsay would play. And it is a gamble that I'm afraid is not paying off. But Batley really have to muscle up. They've got to try to produce the wonderful opening gambit. First 15 minutes, they were sensational. That's good defence.
That's better tackling from Ash Lindsay.
Really put the shoulder into Joe Helm there.
Ash Lindsay playing on the wing nearly in the middle of the park there, and he's probably felt the errors of the couple of tries that have been scored, and he's trying to inspire his teammates. Good on him.
So Batley with some solid defence there from Luke Stenson. Let's go to the sideline, get some half-time news from Ben Pro.
That start for Dewsbury, Will, in the second half was exactly what Batley coach Gary Thornton didn't want. His watchword in the dressing room at half-time was enthusiasm, and particularly in defence. He wasn't happy with the easy yards that Dewsbury were making, and that will not have pleased him at all. More problems for Batley as well. Danny Speakman, who limped off 5 minutes before the break, he had some ice on the right ankle. We think it's sprained. He certainly won't be returning, but it's even worse news, I'm afraid, for Andy Bostock. He was injured scoring that try for Dewsbury. Well, it's a problem with the AC joint on his right shoulder. He's gone for an X-ray to hospital, and it doesn't looks very bleak, certainly for Andy Bostock.
Expensive 4 points from a personal point of view from Andy Bostock then.
I told you it was the acrocavicular joint, didn't I?
Dr. McDermott. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing, you know.
Especially for me.
Don't we know it? Ooh, could have been a flop there from the big fella John Simpson. Went in pretty late. It's better defence. A little bit more enthusiasm needed. Came from Tui.
But Dewsbury certainly have dominated the opening 5 minutes of this second half, scoring a try and coming down the hill at a rate of knots, and that's a high shot on Bretherton.
A bit high, Chris Lyth. Looking a little bit ragged, and it's what was occurring in the final quarter of that first half, in as much that Dewsbury quick play the ball, very eager, quite keen, and I'm afraid the Bulldogs are struggling to get themselves sorted out in and around the play the ball area.
9 penalties in the game, and Hobson straight up the middle. And Helm, another of the big guys, and these two big blokes are doing a lot of damage for the Dewsbury Rams.
He's impressed me, hasn't he? Helm has been very good.
Hobson was the dummy runner that time.
Nice tackle.
Maloney was cleaned out that time by Mark Tui.
He's lifted the intensity in defence since he's come on.
But they could be in here. That's more good defence over on that far side. Craig Farrell, I think it was, with the tackle.
Quick hands into the corner. That's the way to go, but full credit to this scrambling defence. Yeah, that was
well
pretty
done
good
by
stuff.
Farrell on Bryn Powell. The Welsh international saw a chink there, but Farrell shut the door and slammed it firmly in his half. And look at the possession in the second half with Dewsbury well in control there, and Batley struggling to get out of their own half.
It's going to be interesting to see how Batley handle the quest of going up this hill.
But the point that we were making in the first half, that the Batley side would know what to do. You would think that Gary Thornton has educated his halfbacks and said, look, this is what I want from you. But in a lot of respects, when the guys go out on the pitch, it's nothing to do with the coach. Possession and territory is massive now for Batley. They've got to play Dewsbury nearer to their line than their own.
But they're struggling to get away from their own line at the moment. They've been driven back towards it.
Well, Batley unfortunate there. It really looked as though there was a man sprawled in the play the ball area. Should have been penalised.
Well, Gareth Hugh has let this game run, hasn't he? There have been 9 penalties, but there's been plenty of open play. Henderson.
Plenty of heavy stuff as well.
Henderson still legs pumping, and then the legs leave the ground and he goes back. Eventually plays the ball.
Oh, kick pressure.
Well, Hemingway really wasn't expecting that to happen quite like that.
Pat Walker, it was, rushed out the line and just put lots of kick pressure, and it was just a hurried, quick as you can, get it away, put it on the toe, and hence the gain of about 15 or 20 metres.
Spot on, Barry, the pressure that you apply.
Let's get it tidy.
Kick was
Heads
poor.
in. Heads in. Get in.
So Dewsbury will take possession just inside their own half. The ball with Bretherton. Alex Bretherton,
Move.
former Wakefield Academy player. And here's Joe Helm, and Helm,
he really has worked hard. He's come out of the scrum at front row and chased about 60 metres there to get the second hit up.
Mark Tui's been putting himself about as well in defence for the Batley Bulldogs. Maloney and Lawford combining. And now it's with Danny Morn, and Morn almost through. It needed a good tackle from Tom Hemingway to stop him. Pat Walker, Lawford, Kevin Crowthers.
Now will it be Lawford or will Francis Maloney get the kick away?
It's going up high off Dean Lawford.
It is. It's another kick for Lindsay to deal with, and Lindsay manages to pat it back, and it's tidied up by Chris Langley. They got away with that one by the skin of their teeth. It was almost went pear-shaped for them.
Again, good tactics. The experienced captain Dean Lawford going into that left-hand corner. Oh, that's a good run.
Chris Langley, he's been around as well. He's only 26, but experienced with the Bulls and Huddersfield Giants. Now teaching in York. Farrell.
They need something to lift their spirits, the Bulldogs, at the moment. Maybe the half break, maybe the chip over the top. There's no sweeper in there.
Batley aren't asking any questions, Steve-O, because of the position, because of the place on the field where they are, but that's intelligent.
He's chipping and chasing, but Priest did really well there.
You know, if any young guy that I've seen on a football field looks nothing like what a rugby league player should be, it's this Ian Priest. He runs in awkward, good option. We were calling for the little chip over the top, but he just puts his body on the line, this kid.
And what should a rugby player look like, do you think?
Not like him.
10 metres.
But don't all fullbacks do that? I mean,
oh, great ball, Hobson.
And Maloney is away. Good cover defence. Needed to be a good tackle. But they're still coming forward here and here. Oh, Priest, we've built it up.
He was kicking the goal already, was a full-back.
Oh, and he looks to the skies.
He was on the right line and all. He'd gone straight into the gap, just on an inside slide. The defence was going the opposite direction, but I think you're right. Fantastic offload from Andy Hobson there.
He was careering down the middle of the field, Priest. He was like a runaway train.
I think you're right. I think he was putting the hand up in the air and waving to his mum and dad in the crowd before he caught it.
7.
Well, they've come up with a knock-on, and Batley will come up with a possession, but again, they'll be coming out of this scrum and looking at this steep hill to go all the way.
It's a big climb, isn't it?
It certainly is, and the way that Dewsbury are defending, they're going to find it difficult.
Gallagher.
The point I was making before, Dewsbury, when they've been in good positions, have had second phase rugby, they've been offloads, there's been intelligent cutting passes. Batley can't do that because they're virtually on their own line all the time. By the time they get in good position, it's time to kick. They've got to break that cycle.
Well, this will be the first time on their set of 6 if they get anywhere near the halfway line, and they can do that now. This is where it's got to be a good kick and chase, apply the pressure. Oh, they've got the penalty.
Oh, they needed that.
And Dewsbury just too quick off the mark there, and John Simpson was tackled by players who'd come from an offside position.
Chris, come on.
They want to take the tap. Remember, they missed in the first half the kick for touch. It is quite windy against them.
Go.
First real opportunity then in this second half for the Batley Bulldogs to put some pressure on this Dewsbury defence. It's been all Dewsbury so far. So they come down the short side. Colley doing as asked by Barry Mack and taking him on that time. Now here's Hemingway. Bit of pace about him this time, and then Hemingway slips into the challenge from Kevin Crowthers.
They haven't got to panic, Batley, now. They've got to try to keep down that. OK, if they can't get over the trial, then at least try to get a second set of 6.
Here's the offloads we were calling for, exactly.
They've done well. Simpson, who got the ball away to Mark Tui.
Got to be a dink in the in-goal area. They've got to try to get it back.
On the last, Gallagher with a little kick. He's chasing it. Oh, and Priest does well again.
Showed some bravery there to get down, put his body on the line, shield the ball and collect it, and a big let-off for Dewsbury, because I feel that Batley were getting that roll on that they've wanted for the last maybe 12 minutes.
It really does fascinate me to see him Priest, the fullback. must weigh about 7 stone. Look at that, bang, body on the line. Who cares? That's good thinking. Kicking early in the tackle count.
Francis Maloney's saying, let's just get down that bottom end. And Steve-O, you picked it right. That bottom left-hand corner of Dewsbury's.
Lindsay now, it was Lingard who ran it back, and Lindsay, that's a great break. He's got Hemingway outside him if he can reach him. Now Hemingway, let's take it. And Buchanan could go
it was a
to the dressing room.
It wasn't a swinging arm, I think it was just a...
One guy going one way, one guy going another, just stuck his arm out.
It was a grab.
Wingers can't tackle anyway.
Dewsbury 5.
Oh, well, I think it was a lazy one.
Sorry?
Well, they're normally all lazy.
His body's going one way and he's reaching back with his arm. But anyway, I think the right decision here by the referee.
It's not a send-off.
Get ourselves under control. We've got a series of... Make sure we get
a bit of a ticking off, but this could be the turning point.
Austin Buchanan with that lazy arm. They're great friends, of course, with Ryan Bailey from the Leeds Rhinos. I wonder if Ryan Bailey did it, would be we saying the same thing.
Tommy Hemingway have got up to take that penalty kick, which is what happened then.
That's one move.
He did, and Batley haven't given this one up yet. A long way to go, and Simpson once more. And Dewsbury players piling in to make the tackle, all wanting a piece of that one. Here is Hemingway. Colley now. Colley, short ball. It's with Mark Toohey. Toohey's driven back in the tackle.
Again, control defence by Dewsbury. No one coming out of the line on his own.
Colley goes himself. Dewsbury just reacts in time as he went down the short side. Hemingway. Step from Hemingway, not fooling anybody that time, and it's on the last. Needs to be a good kick now. Gallagher is there to take over the kicking duties. Shape to kick, tried to go himself. That'll be the turnover.
That is not good tactics.
It's not, but they're turning the ball over in the right part of the field. I think that's a poor option, but not a bad place to give the ball over.
Here we go.
Well, it's a spirited resistance, this, from the Batley Bulldogs. They've seen their lead. Eaten away, and it's been snapped up by Craig Farrell. Farrell trying to go himself. He's still going, is Farrell. And eventually they stop him just a couple of metres short. What good work from Craig Farrell that time. It's a great spirit from this Batley side here. Colley.
High tackle.
And he's going to get the penalty.
Colley again, he's starting to take the line on and he's causing some indecision. And when a young, fit, athletic player is running at big forwards, you're always going to get mistakes and errors like that.
Got to be the quick tap. No point going for the 2 points.
And Hobson was right round the neck there, and referee having a word with him. Gallagher now, the ball out wide to Lindsay. Lindsay going for the corner. Can he get there?
Fantastic defence, Dean Lawford.
Unbelievable. He spun him on his back and then he rolled over Lawford's body.
What a big body it is.
This is incredible. Watch this. Come to me, roll over, and that'll do it. So
fantastic, Dean Lawford.
Well, what a great effort from Lindsay to try and get that ball down in the first place, as he was being spun around as though he was in a tumble dryer.
Well, he's not noted to be the quickest player in the league as this fella, Dean Lawford, but the effort that he's put in there, well, they'll be talking about that for quite some time.
And look at that, how that's lifted Dewsbury now. Look at the way they're charging onto the ball.
Great commitment from both sides here. Oof. Maloney just managed to hold on to that one. So Dewsbury have weathered the storm up the other end of the field, and now they're coming cantering down the hill, looking maybe to kill off this Batley side. They lead by 20 points to 10 to the Dewsbury Rams. Well, Lawford was put under pressure momentarily there, but had the experience to get out of trouble. Well taken by Ollie Marnes, climbing to take that ball.
I think it's a big shoulder charge from Andy Hobson.
And what's Batley's enthusiasm, and how are they going to react? Fantastic short pass there.
Lindsay is tackled by Liam Finn. Gallagher now. Gallagher for Chris Langley. Langley bursting onto that ball, but Austin Buchanan was there to make the tackle. So was Martin Robinson.
Come on, Austin, we've got to make an effort.
Lindsay.
Good refereeing there by Gareth Hewitt. Quite a few of the players, especially Dewsbury ones, are just loitering in that play the ball area, but he's not giving the penalty. He wants to. That's a poor kick.
Kick and fielded by Priest.
Your mate's positional play was excellent there, though. He guessed it right. He had the whole of the pitch to go for, and Priest got it exactly right.
A little bit of
and he's won his side of penalty as well.
Yeah, he's milked that very well indeed, as young Priest.
He might not look one, but he is one, Steve-O.
Oh, without a doubt, he's the talent. Look at this. Look, sir, look, sir, look, sir.
Well, I don't really think he had to work that hard to get that, did he?
Sufficient.
So, Dewsbury up to the halfway line. Maloney. To Maloney. Dominic. That is. And now here's Andy Hobson. Hobson sent off earlier in the season against Whitehaven. Has returned to the side to have a big impact. Langley going for that ball. Buchanan hasn't got there. It's still going on. And eventually there'll be a knock-on somewhere along the line, and Gareth Ewer will bring him back to the 40-metre line, and Dewsbury will get head and feed at the scrum. Langley it was.
Well, I think he just went
for it.
Well, he's deemed that he's actually gone for the football. It's so difficult with this new rule.
It's good hustle from Batley, though, isn't it? Haven't they lifted?
Well, they know that the clock's ticking away. We're approaching the final quarter, and at 10 points down, they've got to produce something.
Bretherton almost ducking under the tackle there. Oof. And Maloney slipping into that one. I beg your pardon, it was Rob Kelly who was. Priest has gone without it, again. And Marnes has picked it up, and ever since he started extolling his virtues, his game's gone to pieces.
That's amazing. They had the opportunity on 2 occasions to wrap this game up. He's mad with himself.
Hemingway, Henderson.
I'm just going to make the point, Barry, that Dewsbury haven't been down the Batley's quarter for quite some time. They've got the ability of Maloney and Lawford perhaps go for the 1 point.
Good offload by Gallagher to Langley. Langley will take on Priest, and Priest will make the tackle. Stood his ground.
Is 10 points in front any better than 11 points in front? I'm not sure, Steve-O.
Oh, just psychologically.
Batley supporters trying to lift their side. McLaughlin is on to try and do that one as well.
It's got to be a good kick. Give the opportunity to try to regain possession, even if it's a dropout.
Colley hoist that one, it'll hang in the wind, but there's no challenge there. But there's no challenge from Dewsbury either. The ball's come all the way back to where the kick was made, and it's been picked up by the Dewsbury player, by Bryn Powell. Well, what a schmozzle that was. And then they get the penalty. Well, Batley had umpteen opportunities to get that ball then, as Dewsbury stood and watched, and nobody wanted it.
It was a lack of communication. It's yours, and then, no, it's not. It's anybody's.
I think they were probably so keen and so eager to compete for that ball that not many people were behind the play, and the players that were behind the play weren't sure what ruling the referee was going to decision the referee was going to rule. But it's the old adage, always play to the whistle.
Yeah, Robinson almost through there for Dewsbury. Hobson now, and Hobson has gone without it.
Good shot from...
Was it reefed?
Good shot from Martin McLaughlin there. Came out the line, shot out and put the hit on Andy Hobson and dislodged the ball, should we say.
I'm not sure he appreciated the way Hobson took the ball up then. Felt the knee was lifted.
Well, they're still not out of it.
I think he probably did, yeah. When you see a player coming in out of the corner of your eye, you go in self-preservation mode, and that reaction, although he didn't like it, Martin McLaughlin, it's quite natural, I can assure you.
So Ash Lindsay has possession. A real feisty second half here. Just the one try so far, scored by the Dewsbury Rams to extend their lead to 20 points to 10. Henderson didn't like that. Tempers just starting to boil up again.
Dominic Maloney, that's the second time he's gave away a penalty like that. A little bit of frustration creeping in, trying to lift his teammates, but I'm afraid you're not going to do it like that, Dominic.
Dewsbury getting frustrated because they haven't put this game away yet.
Oh, without a doubt. They think that they should have done it, but they need to just settle down slightly.
Well, Batley know that if they can get points back here, they could yet make a grandstand finish here. McLaughlin taking him on out wide, and that's great defence from Dewsbury that time. Nowhere for McLaughlin to go. Colley. Here is John Gallagher. Had Henderson on his shoulder.
Dummy runner needs something to confuse the defence. That's a good run from the hooker. He's close.
Chris Lythe, who scored a hat-trick against Dewsbury earlier on in the season, very close there. Gallagher, Hemingway now. Hemingway puts the kick in. Buchanan's missed it. Oh, did Lindsay get there that time? He reckons he did.
Ooh, I'm not too sure.
I'm not so sure either.
Well. I cannot believe that. It looked to be bobbling all over the place. Let's take nothing away from the kick into the corner. Buchanan, the scorer of 2 tries, have come up with an error. He had the chance to defuse that, but it looked somewhat dodgy.
Touch judge was right on the spot.
He was there. It was a good kick from Hemingway. Oh, there's no way. If we see the replay, well, this is controversial to say the least.
We'll get it here.
We certainly will. And that is no try.
Did he have control of it?
No whatsoever. It's kicked by Priest, I feel.
The touch judge is in a perfect position. He's ruled on that. I think he's spot on.
That's it. Can't go for it anymore. He's given it.
I think he's spot on. Let's congratulate the touch judge.
Well, either way, Ash Lindsay, who was at fault for 2 of those Austin Buchanan tries, has turned it round.
He's got one back. And Austin Buchanan will be kicking himself. Talking of kicking, can this man get the extra 2?
Hemingway has kicked that one into the teeth of the gale. And this game is really heading for a fantastic conclusion. Batley 16, Dewsbury 20.
Well, the momentum is swinging.
Look at that. Gary Thornton likes that. A really intelligent kick, bobbling on the floor. Austin Buchanan didn't do as well as he could have done, and it's always a contest in conditions like this when the ball's on the floor. Game on now, lads.
So
look at the enthusiasm now that's pumping through the bodies of this Batley Bulldog side. They looked out on their feet. Dewsbury had 2 golden opportunities, both by the same player. Ian Priest, the full-back, and put them both down. Well, we're in for a real classy finish here. Still plenty of time.
15 minutes on the clock. Langley in possession.
Joe Helm back on the pitch. The first half when he came on had a real impact on the game, and his big charges really lifted his side. Can he do the same this half? They need it.
David Rourke out there as well now for Batley, just taking the tackle there. And Hemingway. That kick will turn Ian Priest around. And the chase is good from the Batley Bulldogs to pin him down just
good work from
about
John
12
Gallagher.
metres out.
Kick's only as good as a chase, and the loose forward was there. It's amazing what a try can do for a side.
The rain coming down again in Yorkshire. There is Helm, and they're wise to him in the second half. They weren't going to let him get up ahead of steam that time.
Mark Toohey again, that's about the 3rd or 4th time he's come up with a real impact when he's gone in and he shot off the line and spot the runner and just boom.
The crowd's liking this as well. Really liking the enthusiasm being shown by the Batley side. And Maloney just trying to calm things down. Pin the Batley Bulldogs down inside their own half. Lindsay takes the ball just over his own 20-metre line. Ollie Marnes is there.
Second tackle movement.
Farrell on his haunches in back play for Batley Bulldogs, suffering from a bit of cramp by the look of things.
You've got to give Batley a lot of credit, you know. They didn't give up the ghost.
That's about the 4th time Anthony Henson has run at Dean Lawford. Maybe they're targeting those 2 players.
Ooh, that was high from Dominic Maloney.
They could pay the price because this man, again, has given away a silly penalty. He finished up in the neck.
Come here a minute. Don't need you, fella.
A young player, a very talented player with a great future in the game. But if I'm not mistaken, he's been on all 66 minutes of this match. Maybe a sit down, 5 minutes. Look, get back to basics, Dominic.
Okay, it's severe enough.
Well, they could lose the game for them when midway through the second half it was the Dewsbury side in full control. And the Bulldogs have dug deep. And they have the momentum. They get in the possession.
This dog walk.
Doug's dug deep.
Dug deep.
Hot diggity. Well, it's Batley in possession with Richard Colley. A growing influence on this game. Farrell now. Dumped to the ground. Big hit on him out there. In the gloom on the far side of the field. Gallagher now. Rourke steaming onto that ball. Batley Bulldogs with their tails up. Going for the line with Lythe. He's over the line. Can he get the ball down? He's knocked it on. Gareth Ewer was right on the spot.
And again, we've hammered Dominic Maloney for the last couple of minutes, and his weight and his presence of mind there just managed to add that weight and denied the hooker of a try.
He was quick thinking, wasn't he, Chris Lythe, going for it. There's a couple of good runs near to the Dewsbury line. Now this is where composure has to come into it. Batley can't do what Dewsbury have done in the last 15 minutes, and that's give away silly penalties.
Helm is tackled. Here's Danny Morn now. Morn runs straight at John Gallagher, and the young Batley captain, only 21 years of age, making him a pretty young captain in this company. But Gallagher equal to the task and certainly leading his side from the front in this storming second half fight back. But here come the Rams.
Forward pass, has got it right.
Forward.
At a time when they don't need to do that, if you're going to force a pass, you've got to be behind. And that is silly play.
I think that was a set move, Steve, and he'd had it in his mind he was going to throw the pass before he threw it. Again, going a bit technical there, he passed off his outside foot. If Pat Walker would have passed off his inside foot, straightening up, I think it probably would have been a legitimate pass.
The thing is, though, Barry, they don't need that. They are the team in front, and they have squandered the opportunity when their kicking game has been pretty solid.
I think you're right. I think you were spot on when you talked about Francis Maloney penning Batley down in that corner.
Oof. That looked forward from Tom Hemingway to Langley, but
slightly. They're looking tired a bit now, Dewsbury. They're not as sharp defensively in the first and second markers.
Gallagher Lythe now, and here's David Rourke.
He's been honest all game, and he's just put it under his wing and run it in at 100 miles an hour.
I don't think there's been a bad player on the field today.
There's been plenty of commitment, that's for sure. Colley now. Farrell. Almost
nearly
got the ball
away
to Marnes. Colley once more. Well, that's going nowhere. It's picked up by Hemingway eventually. Hemingway puts a little kick in. Lindsay gets on the end of it, but that's
the
end of that set of 6 for the Batley Bulldogs.
Well, it nearly paid off for them, and this is at the jumper time now.
10 minutes to go.
Good drive from the forwards. Maloney or Lawford kick it right down into that far corner.
Dewsbury needs somebody to stand up and get them out of trouble. Who's going to come up with that big drive, that big inspirational drive that gets the team just buzzing?
Well, Dominic Maloney still out there. A win for Dewsbury, take them up to 5th place in the table. Not bad for a newly promoted side, and another defeat for Batley, leave them looking over their shoulders at what's happening behind them. Just Doncaster and Sheffield down there. That one went backwards
I'm not
from
sure.
Ollie Marnes, and Marnes gets away then to make a few more yards. He was fortunate then.
But the most important factor is that the kick was good. Yes, he got the benefit of the doubt from the official. But this is where they want to try to keep Batley.
Good work, well done.
Ooh, that looked forward, didn't it? Looked to knock on either way.
But that's the place they need to be putting that ball in. Make Batley work hard off their own line.
Don't be lazy.
Mentioned Doncaster and Sheffield below Batley Bulldogs in the table. Those two meet
again. Anthony Henderson at Dean Lawford,
and Lawford is the one who'll be going off, and he can't complain really, because it was he that Gareth Ewer picked out after the last high tackle by Dominic Maloney.
And that all came about by, the kick was good, no doubt about it.
Sorry?
He has warned them several times as Gareth Ewer, the official. And without the captain and down to 12, this is going to be very dodgy times.
Gallagher then taking the ball up straight up the middle for his side. Chris Lythe.
He's worked hard, this hooker. He deserves a try.
He's a very lively character. Here's Hemingway. He is another one. Started the ball rolling for the Batley Bulldogs. And they really are finishing with a flourish here. Lindsay will take on Austin Buchanan, but this time he's going to end up in touch.
That's great defence. Wonderful stuff. He may have come up with an error, Austin Buchanan. He scored 2 tries, but he has come up with the defensive ploy of the game.
Again, Austin just caught the man and ushered him onto the sideline. One thing you've got to do in rugby league is stay on the island, and Ashley Lindsay will be very disappointed with that.
We mentioned the Doncaster-Sheffield game. It's Doncaster now. They're not the Lakers anymore, having dispensed with that nickname.
Do you think Lakers, because in Yorkshire, a Laker is somebody that plays rugby, do you think it was Laker as in Yorkshire Laker, or Laker as in American Laker?
Or that there was a pond at the back of the stadium?
I'm not sure.
Well, if it was a pond, I'm afraid this week it would have been a lake.
Yes.
Go. Let's work around the ruck.
Now, composure is needed. They're down to 12. And this is where the experience of Francis Maloney will come.
Spot on, bob on.
What's the chase like?
Lindsay back there to field that ball for the Batley Bulldogs.
Stay on the island, lad.
Oh, and Morn is taking him towards the sideline. He just manages to stay in the field of play. Hemingway. Gallagher now looking for Simpson to make some yards, so he does, up to the halfway line.
Still plenty of time for Batley. They don't have to force the pass yet. A couple more minutes later they may have to.
And Dewsbury down to 12 men with their captain Dean Lawford in the sin bin. Now is the time for the Batley Bulldogs. McLaughlin is going to take a big effort from Dewsbury. Colley now looking to use his pace.
Got to be a good kick. They've gone the short blind side.
Chris Lythe. Oh! Hey, can he get in there?
He's in, you know.
No, I think he's taken out in touch.
The touch judge is happy with that. Dewsbury appealing. The try is awarded. Priest can't believe it. Hobson can't believe it. And Chris Lythe, a hat-trick against Dewsbury in that opening day victory, has got a try that has brought the scores level. What a finish here.
Well, he's deserved it. He's worked really hard, especially in the second half. And again, a bit of controversy. He took them on the blind side. It's difficult to say one way or the other. They took the dummy. Maloney was there. It's hard to see from that, but the referee, it was a good run. You don't take the dummy in these games.
Oh, he's got that down.
A try.
He's got
It's a cracker.
That's a try.
Fans around me furious at that decision, Dewsbury supporters, but I tell you
Yeah,
what,
the
that is
slow
a
motion.
great finish from Chris Lythe.
Didn't Chris Lythe take the right option there? It was a gamble. If he'd have got caught there, they would have given the ball up in a decent position as far as Batley were concerned, but he went from a zero to a hero very, very quickly there. Fantastic piece of play. Very aware hooker, and Chris Lythe worked really hard.
What a kick this for Tom Hemingway then. Way out on the touchline. What an early hero he could be.
He's got it!
He's kicked it in only his second game for the side. Nerves of steel from Tom Hemingway, the lad signed on loan from Huddersfield Giants, who's popped that one over. Lythe with the try, Hemingway with the conversion, and Batley are back in front.
What a beautiful dummy. And they took it. They tried everything. Maloney and Priest, but he had the wherewithal to get it down.
Give him some credit. He dummied with the right hand, put it in the left, and scored it with the left.
22-28.
They fully deserve it, but Andy Kelly, the Dewsbury coach, will be looking at the video and saying, how on earth we've lost this? And I'll tell you the reason why. They've given away too many penalties, one which cost them dearly because Lawford was sent to the sin bin, and there could be more points coming from the Bulldogs.
They certainly have finished the stronger, haven't they? The half-backs, Hemingway and Colley, have got more influential.
They just haven't given up, have they? They've kept playing the waiting game. They've worked the possession, worked the position, and they're taking the right options more often than not.
Full of confidence, they're trying to get on with it. They want more points. Got to be a good kick.
Well, it's straight into the arms of Austin Buchanan, not the best kick, because this guy can return a ball at speed.
Well, that was a bit high.
The tackle from Chris Langley. Now then, there's still time for the Dewsbury Rams, certainly, to pull this one out of the fire.
Batley can't give a penalty away here on defence.
Hobson, furious at that last try, but in fact the replay's showing that it was fairly scored by Chris Lythe. Liam Finn. Here's Helm, taking him on until he runs in to John Simpson, and Simpson hanging on to him, trying to make the tackle. Stolen that ball, that's going to be a penalty.
He was losing it as well, and he found it in his hands, John Simpson.
Now the signal has gone out already, I think.
You can't have a board meeting on it, but he was losing this ball with Joe Helm. He tried to get rid of it, he'd lost it, and it just finished up in the arms.
He gave in to temptation. He was like a kid in a sweet shop there. He just couldn't resist the ball. You're right, if he'd have put his arms up, it'd have been Batley ball.
Sweet shop, and the lollipop landed right in his arms.
Hobson driving Dewsbury forward. Can they pinch this one in the last couple of minutes? They're only about 20 metres out now. Oh, and then Kevin Crowthers has gone without it. He is furious with Pat Walker.
Well, they put a set move. He was coming back on the inside, and not the best pass.
No, do you know what? I don't think there was anything wrong with that ball.
Time off.
He had every right to catch that ball. It's no good looking round.
No, he took his eyes off it. Andy Kelly perhaps thinking that that is the final throw.
Ryan Sheridan at the side of Andy Kelly there.
Plenty of experience up there.
Yeah, so Andy Kelly's got great words to say about Ryan Sheridan. Terrific coach for the future.
Well, what a turnaround we've had here. What a turnaround, because Batley 10-0 up, pegged back 16-10, then finding themselves 20 points to 10 down early in the second half, looking as though they were going to be on the end of a shellacking against this big Dewsbury side. But Dewsbury, that's an example, that has been their downfall.
So many penalties in the second half. They should have had the game wrapped up, and they bombed it on 2 occasions.
Ollie Marnes won't be getting to his feet quickly.
No, they'll take it. They know they've got this game.
We talked about emotions and passion being an issue in the first 15 or 20 minutes, but do you know what? It's gone right throughout the match.
Well, a double for the Batley Bulldogs. There hasn't been an awful lot for them to smile about this season, down at the wrong end of the table, but their supporters will be delighted. They beat Dewsbury early in the season, 24-16. Chris Lythe getting a hat-trick that day, and Lythe it is who has put Batley within a few seconds now of a double against their big local rivals.
And fully deserved, as we mentioned. Dewsbury have paid the price for foul play, but the Bulldogs, they have fought back. Tremendous. Against all the odds, 10 points down.
Goal.
Do you think so? Will Hemingway go for it?
Yeah.
He has gone for it. Oh, he's hit the woodwork, and it's been knocked on there.
That'll do it.
That will be it. That's as good as it. The clock counting down, and Gary Thornton.
Look at that, what that means to Gary Thornton.
Gary Thornton and his assistant Joe Berry celebrate. Paul Harrison, Carl Harrison's brother, is there as well to join in. What is a big, big win for this Batley side. Puts a bit of daylight between them and the bottom 2 in the table. And best of all, gives them a victory over the Dewsbury Rams from 2 miles away over the hill. And Dewsbury will be kicking themselves after this. But this was always going to be a real test of character, and what character this Batley side have shown.
Exactly, we talked about the conditions, we talked about the slope, and they played it perfectly, and they fully deserved the win. They played the conditions, they played the territory, and just did all the little things right, and the 2 half-backs were fantastic tonight.
Well, let's hear what the coach thinks of it. Gary Thornton's down on the pitch with Ben.
Gary, the win in the end, it must have put you through the ringer.
Yeah, it was another close one. Like to save up for entertainment value here at the Bulldogs. So, yeah, it went right to the wire. I knew it would do. I knew it'd be a close game. We said at half-time we're just going to dig in there, keep going. Asked for a bit more enthusiasm from them in the second half, and I certainly thought they delivered.
10-0 up within 7 or 8 minutes, and then Dewsbury stormed back. They went ahead, and then you had some real work to do in the last quarter of that game.
We did. We made the perfect start, and we did speak all week about making a big start here. And then we got a little bit sloppy and let Dewsbury back in the game. But fair play to Dewsbury, they're a decent side. They got two cracking half-backs there. But yeah, second half we rallied real well, and I thought it was a superb performance second half.
Well done, Gary, congratulations. Bring in Dewsbury boss Andy Kelly. Andy, the game just slipped away from you at the end.
Yeah, it did. I thought we were pretty poor actually in the second half with his execution. We didn't get to the kicks were poor, and some of the discipline was a little bit lapsed. I would like to see the last try again, and obviously I'll have to wait while I get home tonight, but I thought we maybe should have, such a vital position, we maybe should have had a look at it.
And jostling for position in that top six, really need another win to consolidate the position in that top six now.
Oh, we need a few wins, yeah. We're far from comfortable. We're a fledgling side in National League One with a lot to learn, and again Batley taught us another lesson, and it's about 80 minutes football and never giving up on the game, doing the things that you do well and making sure you go through the 80 minutes doing it.
And in this part of the world, it's a result that hurts, isn't it?
In some respects, yeah. Any defeat hurts. I don't take any defeat lightly, and it being Batley doesn't make it any more hurtful or less. At the end of the day, we've got to lick his wounds, get on with the job, and we've got a big game again next week.
Thanks very much, Andy.
You're welcome.
Well, a cracking game here at Mount Pleasant, probably the best that we've seen in our coverage of the National League this season. And Batley Bulldogs have won by 22 points to 20. Bill, Barry Mack and Steve-O, your commentators, and over 2,000 in here to see it as well. Well, what does that mean in terms of the National League One table? Widnes, Castleford, Whitehaven leading the way at the top. Lee, Dewsbury, they stay inside the top six, but for how long? Because behind them the race is joined, and well, it's a terrific race this year. And this is the winning try. This is the moment when the Batley Bulldogs realised they were going to go home tonight, the winners. What does it mean in this part of the world? Well, after Tom Hemingway kicked this off the touchline, how about that for only his second match? That's what it means to the coach, Gary Thornton, and to all of his staff and all of his players down here at Mount Pleasant. A fantastic match then from the National League One. Great entertainment, I hope you'll agree. Time for a short break again now. When we return, it's Boots and All Matters. Send us your views. We have the usual email address. And of course, Barry and Terry have been out and about as well this week. Find out what's been going on when we return. So it's Boots and All now till the end of the show. We hear from two Harlequins Great Britain internationals on life in London and that French test. Barry and Terry persecute the life out of Huddersfield skipper Chris Thorman when they hook up with him. And we're looking ahead to the weekend. Four of the top six in the Super League are live on Sky Sports this week. Yes, so from now until the end of the programme, it's our Boots and All regulars. And Sean McRae is with me, just weeks into his new job at Salford. And Barry McDermott has swapped the commentary box for the studio. He'll have a word or two for us as well. And keep those emails coming. We've had quite a few already, but there's room for more. And there's a quick reminder of the address. Don't forget to try and keep your messages down to around about 50 words or so. It'll have a great chance of being aired on the programme. Now then, last week it was the Great Britain-France test at Headingley that dominated proceedings, and two lads from the capital became the first London-based players in 25 years to pull on a Great Britain jersey. They're very proud of that achievement, and with the Harlequins lying fifth in the Super League table, life's pretty good just now.
They're the capital's first British caps for a quarter of a century, so Paul Sykes and Chris Melling could reflect on Saturday's international with genuine pride.
That was, a massive shock. Obviously, it's kind of my first proper year or full year in Super League. There'd been a few rumours and speculation that there was possibly a chance I could get picked on the form and the way that we've been playing, at Harlequins. But I never expected it. And when I got the phone call, it was a massive shock, and I just couldn't wait to tell everybody. It was brilliant.
Ever since I've been playing amateur, playing in the local park, I always used to dream of playing in the Great Britain colours, representing your country. So it's really extra special, Mum and Dad were a bit emotional, to say the least.
and kind of my girlfriend was with me when I got the call, so she was kind of real chuffed and, you know, couldn't believe it. Just a real good feeling.
International honours have followed a campaign which began with victory in the champions' backyard and continued with a string of impressive scalps.
That opening day was fantastic. The first game here in Super League, and, you know, to get a win, obviously against Saints, you know, was even better for myself. But yeah, like Paul said, that, you know, the feeling of the cold and the wind and the snow was just, it kind of took a bit of the edge off the win.
There's a big crowd. I mean, they've got a good following at Catalans, and it was a nice warm day, and they'd just been on a roll, so we knew it was going to be hard to beat them, but we come away comfortable winners.
That was probably kind of, you know, my highlight of the year. We ran them close on 2 occasions, you know, in the Challenge Cup and then at their place, but beating them down here was, you know, pretty significant, and, you know, one of the memories of my season so far.
And having beaten Super League's finest, London's Lions are eyeing their remaining prey with confidence.
We've got quite a good, you know, a good run in towards the end of the year with teams who we've kind of had good performances against or we've beat. So we'd be looking to kind of improve on those performances and get some consistency towards the back end of the year, and hopefully finish on a high, you know, in the top 6, and then have a good run into the playoffs.
I've tasted a little bit of playoff rugby in previous years, and we've always played away, and I'm just thinking, like, we're in 5th at the moment, and it'll be always good to get just that 1 or 2 higher and just get a home draw.
You can get a decent crowd in, it kind of inspires the players, and you always want to perform better in front of your home crowd, and you kind of don't take into account you're playing away and the long trip that we've got and things like that. So, you know, we'd be looking for that if we can get, you know, 3rd or 4th, get some good performances in towards the end of the year, and then look towards a home draw in the playoffs.
It's going well for those two, isn't it? Paul Sykes, of course, who had his not only his career but indeed his very life threatened by a kidney problem just about 12 months ago, and Chris Melling, who was discarded by Wigan and now finds himself being a Great Britain international. They, Sean McRae, will have hopes on the back end of the season and the fact that they'll make the playoffs, but if they do that, they've got to be a good shout for Great Britain in the Test series against New Zealand, haven't they?
They didn't let themselves down last weekend, there's no doubt about that, and they're playing positions where there may be something available at the end of the year. Who knows, with injury and illness, suspension, all sorts of things can happen, but you just see how happy they were, the bit of relief that they got through that first game. And I guess in rugby league, Eddie, you talk about winning a premiership and having that ring on your finger and maybe a Challenge Cup winner's medal is fantastic, but I don't think there can be any greater accolade than representing your country. And if they don't do that again, they're internationals for the rest of their life. Of course they want to have a lengthy career as an international, but to have that shirt and to have that memory and the pride of representing your country, I think that's got to be the greatest accolade for any athlete.
But they don't want to be one-cap wonders, I'm sure, Barry. And, you know, you weren't with us last week at the Test, but you were watching it, I know, and we said in the commentary perhaps half of the team that were on duty last week would have high hopes of making the New Zealand Test series. Do you agree with that?
I do, but I think it's about getting through the finish line, and like Bomber said, there's lots of things, lots of scenarios that can happen between then and now, but they've certainly acquitted themselves well in what probably has been the biggest test of their career.
And can I just say how sartorially elegant Mr McDermott is tonight. It's a wonderful choice of shirt. I'm not sure about the tie.
It's a very strong, powerful man that can carry off pink, if you must know. But I'm just a mannequin, me, for my wife. She dresses me and I walk out the house.
But she gave you a 38-inch jacket last week.
She did. I did have a wardrobe malfunction at Bradford, but don't rob a bank with Eddie anyway. I thought we weren't going to mention it.
No, we'll always drop you in it on this programme. Well, I mean, we're overshadowed by the man tonight.
It's not role reversal, though, is it? You don't dress your wife, do you? If she dresses you to go out, you don't have to do the same? There's no reciprocation there?
Made me dress in my wife's clothing once or twice, but that's in the privacy of my own home. Thank you very much.
Let's draw a veil about that before we go any further. There were no Super League fixtures last weekend, of course, so it's as you were as far as the table goes. The running begins this weekend, and the running for the playoffs is underway. For those also trying to avoid relegation, the running begins. St Helens and Leeds heading the field, Bradford next, Wigan 4th, Quins 5th, Huddersfield 6th, then it's Wakefield, Hull, Warrington, Catalan Dragons, Hull KR and Salford in that order. But look, there are just 4 points between a top 6 spot and the battle against the drop. What stories lie ahead of us in round 18 of the Engage Super League? This is the fixture list. It's 2 versus 3 at Headingley Friday night, Leeds Bradford. 3 on Saturday, Harlequins against Hull KR. That kicks off at 1:30. St Helens Huddersfield, which is our live game, it kicks off at 6:15. And Catalan Warrington kicks off at 8 local time in the sunshine of Perpignan. And 2 more on Sunday. Hull Salford, an emotional return no doubt to the KC Stadium for Sean McRae. That's got a 3:15 start, while Wakefield Wigan kicks off half an hour later at 3:30. Well, first time back at the KC Stadium for Sean McRae since you left a couple of years ago now. Emotions will be running high.
Wonderful memories, Eddie. 5 years there at Hull and watching that strategic plan come to fruition with winning the Cup in 2005 and of course being in last year's Super League Grand Final. Very proud of the way the club has gone and they're a great example of a club that was prepared to be patient and build very slowly. And over that period, I've made a lot of friends and of course I left the club on my own terms and went back to Australia by choice. So I'm looking forward to rekindling some old acquaintances there and more importantly, of course, taking Salford there to play well and put ourselves in a position to win the game.
Yeah, you say the word patience. That will certainly come into it for Salford because you have to be patient. It hasn't been the greatest season for Salford, but for you it's 100% so far. Played 1, won 1. Can that record keep going?
Well, I'd like to hope so. I mean, 10 games to play and there's plenty of football. You just mentioned about the premiership table there, the competition table. I mean, it's actually only 7 points that separate last from 4th position, so it really is clustered at the moment. And I guess everyone needs to handle the pressure of the situation, and we're no different, sitting on the bottom of the table. So there's a formula there. I don't know what it is, but we need to make sure we're ready to play every week.
Well, 4 of the top 6 you'll be able to see with us live on Sky Sports this weekend, and the headline match, Barry, no doubt about it, the full house at Headingley tomorrow night, Leeds and Bradford. Now, the
Premier Derby in UK rugby, might I add, but fantastic match in prospect.
What about Batley and Dewsbury?
Yeah, it's maybe in the top 15 or 16, but no, a lot of passion, a lot of pride going to be shown by both sides. Leslie Vinacolo possibly playing his last match. There's talk of Steve McNamara in it, possibly if he needs him, bringing him back for Wembley. I don't think he will, but it's a terrific gesture. I can't see any of the players from the Leeds side showing any homage to Les before and during the match, but there'll be plenty after it.
I'm sure there will. You know, what happened at the Millennium Stadium between these two, is that all now under the carpet and forgotten?
Without doubt, that'll be on the front of everybody's mind, and maybe they nicked it in the game at Odsal as well. Probably didn't deserve to lose that night, either did Bradford, but Leeds will take the points, and again, history counts for nothing, but sometimes it can motivate you a little bit.
It can, and Sean, in this match over the recent past, it's gone right down to the last set of 6, and one club or the other has won it.
And you're not surprised. Look at the matchups there; they're very even. You've got 2 different styles of play that both Leeds and Bradford have, yet they both suit the players that they have, and they know each other so well, both the people in their own team and the opposition. So you're not surprised that it goes down the wire. I don't see any reason why it won't do the same on Friday. Should be a great game of rugby league.
Indeed so. Steve McNamara has never beaten Leeds Rhinos as the Bradford coach, Barry.
I can't say I'm wanting him to break that trend, but I probably disagree with Bomber there. I think with the 2 games that previously have been played, they've both been tight. I think one team's going to run away, and probably everybody knows where I nail my colours.
You think so? You think it could be a charge away?
I do.
Mind you did think that Dewsbury were going to win this, didn't you, tonight?
No, I said Batley, if you remember. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're a good judge. Saints and Huddersfield then on the Saturday night with us. One of 3 matches in the Super League this weekend on Saturday. A repeat of last year's Challenge Cup final. St Helens, who can stop them?
Well, any team on their day can, but I think St Helens have also got to be a little bit below par. I do think they are the benchmark side. Huddersfield have had a little dip, haven't they, the last few weeks? But you have a weekend off, so it's an opportunity to refresh, to regenerate, recover from some injuries. So you'd expect that they would come out and fire plenty at St Helens, but you're a brave personal tip against St Helens at Knowsley Road. They just seem to have every position well covered, very few weaknesses in their armoury, and they've also had a little break as well, so I'm sure they'll be fresh.
Indeed so. We have some good news coming up for the St Helens Club in a few moments. If you have a view about rugby league, don't forget to send us an email tonight. We'll be able to pick it up here at Batley. There's the address for you. And keep the messages down to about 50 words or so if you possibly can. Now then, some sad news for Wigan and Michael Withers this week. The Wigan full-back has been forced into immediate standing. He rose to fame in the colours of the Bradford Bulls. He had 8 hugely successful years at Odsal. His most controversial moment coming in the 99 grand final against Saints. Did he touch that ball? The video referee thought so. Revenge came, though, 2 years later. He got a hat-trick at Old Trafford, and he went on to be man of the match, and he lifted the trophy. He was transferred to Wigan last winter, but he's managed only 7 appearances for them, his last on Sky Sports in the win at Leeds on the Tuesday after Easter. It's always sad when any great player calls time on his career, Barry, and it's sad for Michael Withers that he's had to go out with he's only scratched the surface of a Wigan career, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he would have wanted to show the Wigan spectators what he was all about, but I'm with you, Eddie. I can't stand to see Warriors, and I use Warriors because that's what rugby league players are, not going out on their own terms. And as I said before, I was lucky enough to do it for Leeds at Old Trafford and got a great reception, and those memories will live in my mind forever, and sadly Mickey Withers not going to get that.
Indeed not. A Warrington fan agrees with you. He sent us an email. It's unnamed, other than he is a Warrington fan. It says, after hearing the unfortunate news about Michael Withers' untimely retirement from the game this week, I would just like to send my best wishes to him on whatever he does next. He's been a fantastic import into the British game, and he will be sorely missed. And all being well, we'll have a feature about Michael Withers on Boots and All next week. But it's a sad day, isn't it, when people have to leave the game under these circumstances, as Barry says.
Yeah, I think Barry's right. The only thing I would add to that is that at least Michael Withers has had plenty of time on the field. I mean, he's probably a 30 or 31-year-old player who's had enormous success. So he's been able to achieve so much. Often we see a 20 or 21, 22-year-old player go out of the game and they had all that in front of them. But Michael Withers has been able to achieve so much in a lengthy career, both in Australia and in the UK. And I guess we all wish him very, very well in his chosen future, whatever he decides to do. But he certainly made a huge impact in the Super League, and it's sad, yet at the same time, he's got so many memories.
And knowing Mickey Withers as I do, that's how he'll view it. He'll just be grateful for the time he's spent, thank the Bradford fans, thank the Wigan fans, and get on with the rest of his life.
Well, the most important thing for him is that he comes through this operation that he's got to have next week, first of all, and that's his first major hurdle. And then he recuperates over the 12 months and, as you say, gets on with the rest of his life. An email here from Eric B. in Gloucester, who is an ex-Leeds supporter. He says, thanks a lot. Another great display of rugby league tonight. Why this isn't our national sport, I'll never know. Super League is one thing. Local derbies like Batley against Dewsbury are the heartbeat of the game. Real rugby, no egos. My father always told me the story of Leeds dreading going to Mount Pleasant. They would struggle all afternoon, and this was when Leeds had a great team in the 1930s. Terrific entertainment, and thanks to Sky. That was, I think, Barry, the best game we've had on National League this year.
What a contest. Everybody had passion and pride in their shirt. And there is other divisions outside the Super League. Without doubt, Super League is a fast-growing sport, and it's wonderful to watch. But there is rugby league outside Super League, and although they don't put the same hours into training, they put just as much effort into the matches.
And Eric in Gloucester makes a good point, Sean. Why isn't this game our national sport, you know? I find it incredible. It's the best-kept secret.
Best-kept secret in the world, I think. It's just such it offers everything for the players, the spectators, and I don't understand it. I've never understood it, that we're not able to expand our game to the point where it becomes better internationally, stronger internationally. The NRL is great, the Super League is great. We're seeing a lot more exposure now in National League One. So we can only just keep fighting the fight and spreading the word. That's all we can do.
We're spreading the word all the way out to Germany tonight, because we've got an email in here that says, could we say hello to newborn arrival Chantel? This is Andy and Sarah's new arrival. They're keeping the game alive and well in Germany with the British Army German side, who will be playing Stanningly in Osnabrück next month. So a very warm welcome to all of our Forces viewers in Germany tonight. I mean, the game, it gets to places you never expect, Barry, doesn't it?
I think sometimes we suffer from an inverted chip on our shoulders. We talk about people not realising how good the game is. It is a fantastic game, and I think our biggest strength is the players within the game and the real people and the real genuine people. That bloke there connected with Stanley and Jamie Jones-Buchanan does a lot of work with Stanley, and it goes on, and every Super League player or most Rugby League players will have some contact with their amateur clubs because they never forget the people that help them.
And one of the emails tonight said no egos in this game. There certainly aren't. We've got some great news for St Helens today. The club have at long last announced plans to move to a brand new stadium by 2010. Rod Studd reports.
For well over a century, Knowsley Road has been home to St Helens Rugby League Football Club. Some of the greatest names in the history of the sport have worn the famous red V there. But the club are about to bid it a fond farewell. The world champions have unveiled plans for a new £25 million state-of-the-art super stadium, which they hope to open in 2010.
It's going to be a very emotional two or 3 years prior to going, and we'll say goodbye to the old dame in the best possible way. We've got some ideas in that regard, but I think all the fans, I mean, even the original doubters, now realise that we need this in order to continue as, you know, a world-class club and hopefully world champions again in the future.
The new stadium will have an 18,000 capacity with a mixture of standing and seating, and will be built along with a superstore on the site of a derelict glass factory. St Helens still need to win planning approval though, and the chairman is warning if the ground doesn't get the go-ahead, then Saints could soon find themselves out of business.
Let's look at the two alternatives we have here. We don't have a new stadium. The club will cease to exist in 3 to 5 years. We can't be competitive in what is a business, where all our competitor businesses have great new stadia. If it does happen, then it's the biggest thing that's not just happened to the club but the entire town, because you've not just got a new stadium, you've got a huge regeneration of the town itself. We'll be as proud in the new stadium as we are in the team. We'll be as proud of the town as we are of the stadium. They're all interconnected.
Trophy after trophy has been paraded at Knowsley Road in the summer era, and the players who've lifted that silverware are backing the plans to move on.
Obviously, as a player, I'm really excited about walking out on the new stadium in a St Helens shirt, and they say everything seems to be going very well. And I think now it's just important that not only as a St Helens supporter, but other people in the town really get behind the project and make it something that's it's going to be very exciting for the whole town.
So it looks like in 3 years Knowsley Road will be no more, and the Saints will go marching on to pastures new.
And we have an email about this already from Sean Kelly, who signs himself the Geordie Saint. He said he's a Saints supporter living up in the northeast in Newcastle. He keeps his family and friends up to date, he says, with Saints news. One of the questions they all ask me is, if the team is so good and they're the world champions, which they are, why do they play in such a rubbish ground? I can't answer this question, but now I can say to them, look at this ground that we're going to have. It's worthy of the best team in the world. He really hopes it all comes off, and indeed we all do here in the studio, I'm sure. Sean, you're a former St Helens coach. You know how special Knowsley Road is to the St Helens supporters, to the St Helens club, but it's a tired old place, and the new ground, new ground at Salford, offers great opportunity.
Well, I think you have two choices. One is you take a facelift and you completely overdo your ground, but that may not necessarily always be possible. You spend a lot of money in there, but you don't really offer the facilities. All you're doing is a lick of paint here and there and spruce it up, and you think you've done a good job. But I think people demand a bit more now. Our supporters, our spectators, fans demand a bit more of facilities, and we are seeing stadia now in rugby league becoming state of the art. There's one going to be built for Salford, and we know that now St Helens will probably get this up and running. I'm sure it will happen. There's other clubs that we know of, Wakefield, I believe, Castleford, they've all got proposals in. And you go to the JJB, you go to the KC Stadium, you go to all these other places, and you see what can be achieved. And I think that's very important. In 1996, when I started at St Helens, they were talking about a new stadium then.
Yeah.
And so it really has been in the pipeline for some time. And I'm delighted for St Helens, I'm delighted for the fans and the club that they've been able to at least get to this point now where I can't believe for one moment it would be turned away. I can't believe they wouldn't get planning permission.
Well, you would hope not, but that was what Eamon McManus was saying, wasn't he? He's saying, providing planning permission comes up, but if it doesn't come up, the club will be out of business in 3 to 5 years.
I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here, and suppose you take the new stadium just on the edge of town, comparing it a little bit to what we've done with JJB, do you rip the heart and soul out of the rugby league community? I know that people in Wigan they're not happy with the site, and it's surrounded by shops and there's retail parks and sports centres, and it's wonderful, but people won't go there. What's wrong with taking a new stadium and put it in the same footprints as the old stadium?
Well, I suppose that's all to do with the finance, and people better than us three in the studio can answer questions like that. But it didn't happen in Warrington. They just went down the road a little bit.
And it happened with Hull. Hull bought into it 100%, but there's always that little bit of doubt.
And this new stadium is going to be a mile away from the old ground, so it's not a million miles away, obviously.
It'll actually be easier to access.
Yes.
I know where the ground is. It'll be easier to access.
It's the old United Glass area.
And really, I think, Barry, the other thing is you go in with partners, you go in with business partners, and the council backs it, and you get all sorts of grants, etc. And to do that, you really do need to the space at Knowsley Road just would be able to cope with that.
Correct. I mean, Saints have got it right on the pitch for as long as the Super League era has been in fruition, has been going. But, you've got to give your corporate customers something that is really special.
Absolutely so. I mean, they are the world champions. They deserve the best stadium. Let's hope that they actually get it.
But our game does too, Eddie. I think that's the point. Our game deserves it.
Of course.
Every club deserves a new stadium, and I think that's the point, that everyone should turn up to have first-class facilities no matter where the game's played.
Absolutely, hear to that. I've had an email in from Lauren in Southampton. I can't believe this, because Lauren seems to think that Barry McDermott's tie is awesome. Well, we have a word for it, but I don't know whether it's awesome.
It's maybe garish a little bit. Garish.
What?
Garish.
Okay.
It's a little bit, I go against the norm and buck the trend, and like I say, my wife has excellent taste.
She does.
Obviously, she does.
She does. Talking of fashion, time for a bit of fun right now. Barry here and his sidekick, Terry O'Connor, have been out and about this week in their own inimitable style, and this time they popped across to Huddersfield to pay a visit to the captain of the Giants, Chris Thorman.
He has had a great year, Chris Foreman.
He has. I reckon the change from standoff to fullback's improved in no end.
Oh my God, look at the kip of him.
Holy moly, he looks like a right Herbert.
Freak.
All right, Chris.
All right, lad. How you going?
You do know that we've come to film you today, don't you?
Of course I do. That's why I'm dressed like this, Baz. Walked to my brother's wedding, best man.
So is that you making an effort?
Well, I'd like to think so. What do you reckon?
Just take us through your outfit, mate, for today.
Well, it's an eclectic mix, isn't it? I've got the 80s. I'm a big Miami Vice fan. Dan Johnson, you two will definitely remember him.
Dan.
Timberlake, Jason, me main man. Got the hat, yeah.
I'd like to see your wardrobe if I can.
I'll just nip to the little boys' room for a sec.
Can you make us a drink and bring it up?
Not a problem, lads. Hey, lads, don't disturb me, missus. She's in bed, all right?
Sorry, though.
Give it a minute in there. You'll never believe what's here.
What?
Have a look at all this.
That has to go.
Got your drinks, boys.
Oh, cheers, mate.
Thanks.
Can you,
I think we just need to take you through some stuff here, mate.
I think we just need to get down to basics. Just tear that off.
When are you going to wear that?
Where's the beach in Huddersfield?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I might go one day.
And how many trees have you chopped down lately?
Oh,
I'm not sure.
Definitely.
You don't need it. Get rid of it.
Turn-ups. What are you doing?
You look like you've had an accident with a paint can with that. Get rid of it.
That's my best one, that.
Where'd you wear that? What's the worth for?
Flowers. Flowers. Get rid of them.
I like flowers. White ones.
Now that is probably the worst I have ever seen in my life.
Just feel the quality, though.
Feel the quality? You look like a melon.
Oh, yeah, now you're talking, eh?
Explain it.
Did the hat go with the top?
Yeah, I actually did, but I bought them as a pair, yeah. I got hat half price for buying the jacket.
And what about that behind you hanging up? Where's that jumper from?
Oh, that? Oh, you know John Sharp?
Yeah.
Got me that for Christmas.
Did it?
It's nice, isn't it?
Fast improvement.
Not bad.
That was a bad one.
Get in there, that. You need to be aiming up towards Trent Barrett, though.
You're a bit like Gazok at the minute. Try something else on.
Get that one, that other one on, the one they put
brought.
first.
So how's that then, Chris? You must feel a lot better now looking at yourself.
I don't know what to say. I look great, don't I?
I'll tell you what, you look like Ben Pitt.
Showing all the things off where it should do. You're all tucked in and
tight and
look really nice.
I know.
Really nice.
Honestly, I don't know what to say.
Are you okay? You're like filling up there.
Yeah.
Okay?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Not for me, mate.
Thanks, Baz.
Yeah. Right.
Fantastic, eh?
So you must have been very happy with your Great Britain call-up then, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I like to think it was warranted. I've been pretty consistent. I've showed some decent form this year, and it's gone pretty well.
What about Huddersfield's chances? Where do you think they're going to end up this year?
I really do think that we can achieve something this year. You know, Challenge Cup last year, but the goal is certainly to stay in the top six. You know, we made it at the start of the year that we want to be in the top six, and I think, you know, you've got to strive for greatness, and you know, once you get to that knockout stage, anything can happen, as shown last year in the Challenge Cup.
Hey, cheers for that, and give my apologies to your wife, please.
Oh, that's all right, no problem.
All right, mate.
See you, Baz. You take care. Take care, boys. Bye.
I'm bringing sexy back.
Barry and Terry, Boots and All's answer to Trini and Susanna doing a makeover on Chris Thorman. No wonder you're so well.
A little bit
dressed
cheeky,
today.
that outfit, I think. You know, if you're looking for a transformation, maybe we can help you out.
Can I make an appointment with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, you've caused trouble. Well, you cause trouble wherever you go. You've caused trouble again tonight. Your assertion that the Leeds-Bradford match tomorrow is the biggest and best local derby in rugby league has got them emailing us from Wigan, from St Helens, from Hull KR. Thanks. You have absolutely blocked the system.
Well, at least
now.
they're tapping away. At least they're listening, eh?
Well, now, Sean, you have been involved in the whole... Well, no, you were never involved in the whole derby, only in the friendly versions around Christmas
Friendly
time.
version, if there's such a thing.
You have been involved in Leeds Saints. You have observed... Wigan Saints. You've been involved and observed the Leeds Bradford. Which is the best?
I don't really know. I don't know. Well, I've only been involved in one, so I guess you tend to favour that. But Wigan Saints was...
Do you know what, though, Eddie?
always a special
We've
game.
seen the heavy woolen derby here and what passion was out there. And I was a bit tongue-in-cheek when I was saying it. I've got great pride and glad that I played for Leeds all those years, but I'm just proud of the sport, and every time we watch it, it gets better.
There's a word here about Batley and Dewsbury tonight from a Warrington Wolves supporter, Ian, and Nathan as well, who's put his name to this. Excellent game tonight. Do you really think there's a possibility of Batley and Dewsbury merging and becoming a Super League team? I mean, it's the old word merger again, and it doesn't go down terribly well.
Doesn't go down well, but I think that's going to be something in the future that clubs will have to consider. If you start talking about franchise systems and licence agreements and all sorts of things, if that is all going ahead, and we understand that is going to be the case in 2009, I think that a viable way is for some clubs to get together and try to form another team. But that, of course, means getting into history, tradition, tugging away at the heartstrings of people, the emotion that it will create. The friendships will probably destroy, but that may be the only way forward for some clubs.
Well, I remember what it was like in '96 when all this was first mooted Super League, and there was supposed to be Widnes and Warrington merging, and there was supposed to be a merger in this part of the world, Wakefield, Castleford and Featherstone. There was never Swinton and Salford, you know, never a chance.
I've got a very, very short answer to that question. Never in a million years.
No, you're not a fan of mergers?
I see it as progress, and I see it as we've got to, and I look back to those early days of Super League, and would we be any better off? I'm from Oldham, and Oldham sadly are struggling away now, and they were due to merge with Rochdale and Swinton to become Manchester. Are Oldham, Rochdale and Swinton any better off on their own? I'm not think so, but the tradition and the steeped in tradition, these rugby league towns, and like I say, never in a month of Sundays.
OK, they said never in a month of Sundays about summer. They said never in a month of Sundays maybe about taking a full round of matches down to Cardiff and the Millennium Stadium, but we did that this year, and from all accounts it's on again in 2008, and a couple of emails about this. I've just picked this one out from Ewan in Cardiff. It says, with the news that Super League's coming back to Cardiff and the debate as to whether it was a success or not, can I just say that I'm over the moon. Millennium Magic was my first exposure to live rugby league. I love the weekend so much. I'm now a convert, almost verging on an obsession. I've started watching the Celtic Crusaders in Bridgend. Maybe the rugby league know what they are doing. That's from Ewan in Cardiff. So there you go. It works. Take people down to it. Let them see it firsthand. You get hooked.
Absolutely. We said about it, didn't we? And I think the longer we've got that project going, I think the more people will buy into it. It's a chance for the lesser teams, the teams from areas that perhaps aren't guaranteed that Challenge Cup place or that Super League place, to have a big day and go out and watch the team on a fantastic stadium.
Indeed so. One here that praises all of us here on Sky Sports, and it's always nice to receive these. We get plenty of brickbats, don't we, on our travels out and about. This is from Victor. He says, you fellas are an integral part of the success of rugby league entertainment. May you reign for at least another decade. We're lucky to have you. How nice of you to say so. He's now based in London, is Victor, and it's great to hear chipper, good-humoured, straight-talking Northerners speaking on one of the greatest games in the world. And he also says he saw Richard Lewis at Wimbledon yesterday. Did he used to be a Davis Cup player, Victor? Yes, he did. So there you go. Praise indeed. Praise indeed.
Where do I come into the chipper?
You're a chipper.
I was just thinking that. He's never seen a Northerner, has he?
I was just curious as to where I came into that.
Well, you're chipper.
Like chiming into the back line, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Chips, you're chipper and you live in the north.
Yes,
you eat chips.
Exactly. Yes.
Chips,
yes,
more
yes,
like,
yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
Something that the Trini here doesn't do anymore now.
Is that right?
I think he's on a diet as well as everything else.
Well, he's now a fashion expert, and I think he's perhaps the
trying
culinary delights could come out next.
I'm trying to improve my, the way I'm appear and my appearance. I'm also trying to extend my diction and make sure I can describe things in a way that people will understand. I'm always trying to lengthen my diction.
Well done. And you're managing it every week. You're doing very well. A lot of people love you. Now, I have to tell you, even though we have been here at Batley tonight and we are live at Leeds and St Helens over this coming weekend, that live rugby league isn't the be-all and end-all of our service this year. No, not by a long chalk.
You can catch all the other Super League highlights with Tony Ray every Sunday on Sky Sports News from 9:30 p.m. And if you miss them, you can log on to our new Boots and All online show, available from Monday evening, where you can access every Super League try, whenever and wherever you want. Steve-O will also be giving his views on the week's events with a regular Sky Sports News slot on Thursday at 2:45 p.m.
So it's Thursday at 2:45 to keep a date with Steve-O and our colleagues on Sky Sports News as he previews the Super League weekend. That same weekend action will be reviewed on Sky Sports News on a Sunday evening at 9:30 or thereabouts. Don't forget Boots and All online from Monday evenings with Angela, Bill, Barry and Terry. It's also available on Sky Anytime TV weekly from a Wednesday morning. Further details of this service, which provides a selection of the best programmes on Sky, could you log on to anytime.sky.com. And of course, don't forget those live matches that are coming up from the Engage Super League this weekend. Two blockbusters for you. Leeds Bradford, that's second against third in the table. Friday evening from 7:30, Sky Sports 3 in high definition on HD2. And on Saturday night at 6, Sky Sports 1 on HD1, it's St Helens against the Huddersfield Giants. And next Thursday, we've got another live match for you from the National League. It's Dewsbury against Widnes on Sky Sports Extra from 7:30. Please do make a day to join us for all of that. But for now, from Barry, Trini and Sean and all the team here at Batley, see you over the weekend, I trust. And as always, thank you very much for watching tonight. Bye-bye.